I got a haircut today, you guys, so I'm feeling myself today. I don't do anything special with my hair. I literally just got the dried ends cut off, but I only go like once a year. I'm really bad about it. So, I love a fresh blowout. Okay, anyways, cool video today. I am speed reviewing 22 products that I've been testing, some for the last few weeks, some for the last few months, and I'm ready to finally give you my review. If you are new to my channel, my speed reviews is how I tie up in a nice little bow all of the products that I've tested previously on my channel. If you come to my channel, I promise you, you're gonna see that product again. I'm not gonna be one and done when it comes to using these products. I have speed reviews so I can hold myself accountable and can give you a final review on these products after I've used them multiple ways, multiple wear tests with multiple products and styles of application. So consider this my encyclopedia of all of the new makeup and my final thoughts on them, my final reviews on them. So I have 22 products, a lot of pretty new, exciting ones. So that's why I'm like, this is a good one. I go by face, then eyes, then lips. So let's go ahead and get into it because these are supposed to be speedy. I just had a warhead. I'm healthy, but that's why my tongue is green. Okay, so the first product that I have 3 different tinted SPFs that I was using. That is the product of the summer right now. So the first one that I have been using is the Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Natural Dewy. I have been a user of the Mercier tinted moisturizers for years. They've kind of rebranded themselves recently to make their tinted moisturizer more trendy. I'm a fan of more of the OG finish. They also have a matte finish. And this one is definitely dewier than the matte finish. It does leave a nice glow behind without being too glowy. It's pretty glowy if you don't use powder over top. Today I did, so this is more of a finish that I like. And I like this. It's very light coverage, but I prefer just the regular OG tinted moisturizer. I don't need a tinted moisturizer to be dewy because by nature of the product, it does tend to be a more glowy product, especially as time goes on. So this is kind of a middle of the road product. I think Mercier does a great job with their tinted moisturizer, so it's a very good tinted moisturizer if you're okay with it being really on the lighter side of coverage, because there are a lot of tinted moisturizers that have a little bit more tint to them. But I've enjoyed this for more natural, fresh makeup days, which is what I've been wearing a lot this summer. I just have not wanted to feel like I have a lot of makeup on my face, and I've been wanting to be a little bit faster with my makeup recently. And so this has been very nice, but it's not my all-time favorite tinted moisturizer, if that makes sense. It's a product that I am going to continue to enjoy while it's in my collection. And I'd argue I do like this better than the matte version, but it's not like a game changer. Now pay close attention because this next product I have changed my thoughts on a little bit. This is from Covergirl. It's the Blurring Skin Tint, and I really, really enjoyed this first few applications. But I have now decided I don't love this every time I wear it. It actually gives like a lighter medium level of coverage. It's quite a lot for being a skin tint. What's unique about this is it's matte, so that is supposed to blur the skin more, but I do find this is very quick to look cakey. This is a product where less is more, and if you have dry skin, please be very, very careful because this does emphasize dryness on the skin. I don't find it to be as blurring as it could be because by nature, with this being more of a matte finish, it should be more smooth on the skin, but I find since it's a little heavy at times that it does emphasize texture a little bit more. So if I don't pair this with good products, my skin will look very, very dry and cakey. If I pair this with products that I like, that are more on the hydrating side, then this looks very, very good, especially when I don't over apply this. So this is a little bit more finicky than I thought it was originally, just because it can look heavy kind of easily if paired with the wrong products. But overall, it is a unique product at the drugstore, and if you can find the correct way to wear it, I think it's quite unique. You know, I'm like, with it being a drugstore product, I am willing to adjust as needed to make it work, but it's not a perfect product. And then the last SPF tinted product is from Merit. It's the Uniform. This is a fabulous, fabulous tinted SPF. It's like right in between the coverage that the Laura Mercier and the Covergirl gives. It's a lighter coverage, but it really does even everything out. It's very comfortable. It's very hydrating. This is my favorite of the three that I'm showcasing today. And I was very lucky. I got to create a bundle. I'll put the link down below for Merit using my favorite products for them that I've been loving this summer, my essentials from them. And I got to include this in that kit because I know a lot of you guys haven't tried it yet with it being new. And I wanted to give you an opportunity where you could save some money and try it out. And I really, really love this. Shade 24 is a little dark for me right now, but as soon as I get back from Spain or while I'm in Spain, this will be the perfect shade for me. Really, really loving this. This is a great launch for them. And if you do happen to buy my set from Merit, it's only available for a limited time. Use the code Morgan because then you get a free hat at checkout. So a couple videos ago, I did a whole little video on that. Okay, I have a lot of cheek products, particularly blushes. So strap in if you're a blush girl. It's a lot of blushes though. And you know, blushes don't look that different from each other. But anyways, this first product is actually more a bronzer that I've been using it. This is so, so good, you guys. I can't believe it's drugstore. Physicians Formula is kind of expensive for drugstore, but it's really, really good and very easily accessible. So they have this Butter Glow and Glow double-sided stick duo. I have the shades Beachy Pink and Rose. The Rose shade is fine. I've been more into the bronzer shade. Just really good, solid cream formula. Blends out really easily, not too pigmented, not too sheer. I don't know, the perfect cream formula. Sometimes it doesn't need to be special. It just needs to blend onto the skin easy, not act funny with other products, apply the perfect amount of pigment, and that's how I feel about this. This is a product where, let's say I left my makeup bag at home or lost it. Like, this is a product I would pick up at the drugstore because it has a very high level of performance. If you like the shades, I definitely recommend this. Great for travel with it being a bronzer and a blush, especially for the warm weather travel with it being a cream product. So good. Have been loving that. Okay, brace yourselves. We have 6 blushes and some very trendy ones like these from Charlotte Tilbury, the Unreal Blush Healthy Glow Sticks. I like these. I don't have anything bad to say about the performance of these. I used the shade Pinky Glow today. I think it looks really beautiful. It applies beautifully on the cheeks. I also have Peachy Glow, which is also gorgeous. I think these are stunning. I think these are also expensive and these aren't necessarily a unique product. With all of the cream blushes on the market, how unique can anything be? It's a good solid cream blush formula. At this price point, I would expect it to be. These are not a game-changing must-have formula. If you have your own little collection of cream blushes that you enjoy, this probably isn't going to add anything new to your collection that you don't already have. I like these. The colors are pretty basic. Again, all of those other cream blush lines also have the same colors that Charlotte Tilbury has. So nothing bad to say about the formula. It's just not reinventing the wheel. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. These are a little bit more unique, I would say, but they're not really to my taste. And they're also, of course, being Dior, very, very expensive. I'm not afraid to spend a little bit of extra money at Dior because I feel like some of their products are worth that extra price point, particularly their foundations, if you're curious. But these are the Backstage Rosy Glow Sticks. Now, directly comparing these to Charlotte Tilbury, these are more of like a balmy formulation, which is not my cup of tea. It might be yours. So where I like to use this formula is with a tinted moisturizer, lighter coverage product. Like, this would have looked weird with the matte Covergirl product. It's just a little bit too glowy, but it looks gorgeous on top of the Laura Mercier Dewy Tinted Moisturizer. So very, very pretty if you're into tinted moisturizers and glowy bases. I do think that you'll like this. It's more sheer than the Charlotte Tilbury, but it can be built up. And the shades are quite beautiful. I love this shade Candy. It's almost like an orgasm vibe to it. Generally speaking though, if I was not a makeup reviewer, these aren't the product for me. I don't love a balmy, sheer, kind of wet cream blush formula. I prefer more of like a true cream flatter finish. Toffee, by the way. is also really nice in this. I like the colors. If this is your jam and you like that style of formula, maybe like a little bit metallic on the cheeks, then I think you will enjoy these. They have good wear time. Again, don't have anything bad to say about the formula, but they are expensive and just not the type of formula that I love, but not too much trash talking on it. Now, a good solid cream formula. Hold on. I have a much more affordable cream option for you from Beauty Creations. These are gorgeous. Beauty Creations is quickly becoming one of my favorite, more affordable makeup brands. So these are the blush sticks. They also have bronzer sticks, but I've just recently gotten into the cheek colors. Coquette Pink, while attempting on the website, not flattering on my skin tone, by the way. But the other shades are absolutely beautiful. And this is kind of like the Physicians formula, where there's no fuss, no frills in this formula. There's nothing really unique about it, but it just works. It's really creamy. These have more of that flat finish that I'm into. Not too pigmented, not too sheer. They work out exactly as you want. They don't mess up anything you have underneath, and decent wear time, especially if you set it with a powder. The only thing I hate about these is the packaging is magnetic, so it repels one another to try and get them to stand next to each other. So that's just a storage issue for me. But other than that, gorgeous, gorgeous formula. The finish of this is different than, say, the Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury has more glow, but they're very different price points, and this one gets the job done. So I really have been enjoying those. These are interesting. Bobbi Brown, they launched these Pot Rouge Velvet Matte for lips and cheeks. Bobbi Brown's not really a viral brand nowadays, but I thought these were interesting. They're like moussey style of blushes. I don't love these as much as I wanted to because I find they're a little bit difficult to blend out, and they can look a little funny with certain bases where it looks a little bit separated. You can put these on the lips, slightly drying. Not my cup of tea. For the price point, probably wouldn't recommend these moussey style blushes. They're not terrible, but there are better out there. So I'll just leave it at that. I do have a couple powder blushes. Along with Dior launching those cream blush sticks, they reformulated their Backstage Glow powder blushes. Now, the thing with these, they definitely added more pigment comparing it to the old formula, though I don't think it's different enough to where if you have the older formula, you need to run out and repurchase it in the new formula. Like, finish that one up first. But yes, these are more pigmented. So I'm not so much as excited about the pre-existing shades that they did. It's a good powder blush formula, don't get me wrong. It does have that little bit more pigment. It has very trendy shades. It is a little bit pricey, but I enjoy this blush line. I always have. But they launched a new shade, Toffee, and it's also in the cream blush. I love this Toffee shade. I think it is the perfect warm, peachy, but still a little bit neutral blush. I think that this is stunning. This is worth the purchase for the color, and you get the good Dior formulation. So Toffee is the standout, but you definitely don't need to run out and repurchase any colors that you had in the older formula. It's not that much different. And then the last powder blush that I have is from Kosas. Now, they launched 3 new shades, which I do believe were targeted for deeper complexions, but I did end up keeping the shade Wavelength for myself. This is a fun, warm, toasty color for the summer. I do enjoy this formula a lot. This definitely has more punch on my face than the shades that I have in my collection currently, but this is the one that I kept for myself, and I think it's really beautiful. And these do have a little bit of a natural sheen to them on the cheek. Beautiful baked blush formula. So I just wanted to update you on that. And this is the one I ended up keeping. Makeup by Mario launched these SoftSculpt blurring bronzers. Been loving these. Mario can do a good bronzer. I love his bronzers in all the forms that he's launched them. Stick, cream, powder, they've all been good. And these are quite a blurring formulation. I'm in between 2 shades. I do light medium when it's like my main bronzer, but if I have a cream bronzer on, then I use the light shade. These just look really, really smooth on the face, which is unique for a powder bronzer, because sometimes powder bronzers, especially when you put them over top of powders, can kind of patch up. I don't feel that way about this. It's really smooth, really creamy, not too overly pigmented, just a beautiful powder formula. And powder bronzers, you know, how much variety can there be? Not a lot, but I do really, really like these. Okay, I have this new powder from Benefit. It's the Porefessional. Nope, don't buy it. This is drying, and it also darkens where you apply it. I hate this powder. No, don't go anywhere near it. That's all. And finally, for complexion, before we move on to eyes, I've been talking about this. I love it. From One Size, the Powder Melt Glass Setting Spray. This is such a beautiful, refreshing spray. I really do feel like it pushes the powders in. As a girl with dry skin, I love that. And I just think it makes my makeup look refreshed. I think One Size has been killing it. I've been loving the products that they've been putting out. This is one of them. It's amazing. So, so, so good. It's a new favorite of mine. Okay, eyes. I mean, I've been talking about eyeshadow sticks for a while, but I've really been using eyeshadow sticks because I feel like eyeshadow sticks are launching more than eyeshadow palettes. I'm not really mad because the eyeshadow stick game, the eyeshadow stick market, is getting really good. So the first one that I've been testing out is from Thrive. They're called the Brilliant Eye Brightener. So these aren't an all-time favorite of mine, but they're not offensive by any means. These just blend out really, really sheer. Like you saw today, I'm using the darkest shade and it's very, very light. I'd rather that than a product that doesn't blend at all. So these are usable. These do blend out like very easy eyeshadow. The shimmers are more satiny as opposed to super wet and glowy and dewy, which is what I like all over the eyelid. But these don't have the longest wear time. I find that they sheer out on the eyes throughout the day. So these aren't my favorite. Another one that I've been using, these are a little bit more of a specialty eyeshadow stick from MAC. They're the Dazzle Shadows. So these have more glimmery finishes. Now different shades have different level of glimmer, sparkle. Some are just more metallic. Some are going to have actual glitters. The one that I'm wearing right now is Subliminal Spark. So this one has a little bit more glitters in it. And I find that the more glittery ones might not be the most flattering on mature eyelids. And for days that I've had a lot of product on my eyes prior to these, they look a little separated and not as great on my eyelid. These apply best with minimal product all over the eyelid, like not a lot of powder and stuff like that, just on a bare eyelid. So I like these, but they're not the most consistent. But I do love that they have the option of the glimmer finishes here. So some are pretty as toppers. I like some colors more than others. My favorites is this Subliminal Spark that I have all over the eyelids, but it is a little picky. And then I also like Taupe It Off and Demure Diamonds, which are both a little bit more on the metallic side. But overall, they're pretty nice, but definitely go in store, swatch them, see how they feel. They set down really well too, so they're not creasy or anything like that. Two new mascaras. This first one, not a fan of, it smudges. From Maybelline, it's the Colossal Bubble. They have a lot better mascaras in the Maybelline line. It also is a little lackluster on the lashes, doesn't hold a curl the best. So I'm not in love with this. I'm very, very picky with drugstore mascaras. I think they have great options out there, but they launch so many different mascaras and it's hit or miss. This is a miss. And then the next mascara that I've been testing is from Armani. And my issue with Armani mascaras in the past, I love how they're drier and lighter weight on my thinner lashes, so they hold a curl better, but they flake. This is not as flaky, which makes me happy. And I'm not blind. The words are tiny, tiny on this. I am a little blind, so it doesn't help, but like, the name is gonna be on the screen because I cannot read this. It's like the Vertigo something mascara. Anyways, this one I think is definitely nicer than the Maybelline. It makes my eyelashes look a little bit more voluminous and it holds a curl better and it lasts longer. However, there is a big price point. This doesn't beat out like the best drugstore mascaras, just to put it into perspective with it being a luxury price point, but it's a nice mascara, but I wouldn't repurchase. I'll finish it. I like it enough to finish it, but I would not repurchase. These have been super duper popular on the internet. I don't love these as much as everybody, unfortunately. They're a good product though. From Huda Beauty, the Lip Contour Stains. You have to make sure you're storing them upright and upside down so that the applicator has a lot of ink in it. I just don't love lip stain products in general. This works, lasts all day. It's too harsh on the lips and I can't really get the definition that I'm looking for with this. I do try and blend them with my fingers, but to me it just doesn't look as good as a lip liner. I like to overline a little bit, which you just can't do with these markers. And I like how the actual lip pencil holds products into the line of the lips. This is not going to do that. Like, the product is going to go over. This is just a stain. But for being a stain, these are nice, and I really like the colors. So these really, really do work. Just for the way that I actually line my lips, I need a real lip pencil to do that. This just doesn't look as flattering. Okay, we have a couple glowy lip products. The first one is from Dior, the Lip Glow Butters. Do not buy these. These make me angry. You're paying a lot of money for these little charms, which are cute, but why should you pay a lot of money for these? Because look how plain this packaging is. The product is like starting right here. I can see through my lights right now. It's starting here. Not a bad formula, if I'm being honest. Just nothing special for the price point. You know, Summer Fridays is like half the price, and it's a more hydrating formula. This is not bad formula. This is just way too overpriced, and the packaging is not good. So I just morally cannot recommend those to you. If you like it, I saw some people in my comments who said they loved it. Great, those people exist, but my personal review, I don't want you guys wasting your money on that. Instead, I think Summer Fridays is much more worth the price point. So their new shade is Pink Guava. At this point, all of their shades are kind of similar. Like, this is like a slight pink tint. They have colors like this that exist. So if you have any pinky-ish colors, you already have this. But I have these all over my house. I just love this formula so much. It's one of my all-time favorite formulas. So I received these in PR, okay? So that's why I have this and why I'm reviewing it. But I already have enough shades of these, and they're all kind of similar and pretty on the sheer side. So this is not like a must-have, you guys. But you must have one. Let me put it that way, but you can see there's a little bit of a tint to it. I just love this formula so, so, so much. It does have that guava fragrance to it, so it's fun, but color and look-wise, if you have one, you're good. And then Huda Beauty, along with the lip stain thingies, she launched the Faux Filler Jelly Oil, and these are cooler than I thought. I like these more than I thought I would. These do feel a little bit more jelly and bouncy on the lips. Really pretty and reflective. Very, very glowy, and they do feel in the lines of the lips. Really enjoy this formula. It's just that these are all three so sheer. They're pretty much clear. You only need one of these. They're very nice and hydrating on the lips. So I like these a lot more than I thought I would. I'm not a huge fan of the glosses from Huda Beauty. They're not bad, but they don't stand out to me. These actually have a special something to them, where I think one is worth it, but they're all very, very clear. So my recommendation is just to pick up one if this is a style of product that appeals to you. Okay, and very last for today's video, the 22nd product from Covergirl. I love these. I think these are one of the best products that Covergirl has launched recently. The Jelly Water Tints. They have beautiful shades. This is a lip stain, which has a little bit of a oil over top that kind of works as a lip gloss. So you'll get this color over top, but it does leave behind a very pretty stain. I haven't gotten these off yet. And they have a couple shades that are neutral. They're not like super vibrant lollipop-y, but they have those as well. Really comfortable formula on the lips and a really great quality stain. I just think from the drugstore, these are a unique product. They really mastered this K-beauty style formula. I've been loving these for the summer. I think that they are phenomenal for a lip stain. And there we have it. Those are 22 of the most recent products that I've been testing, and I signed, sealed, delivered. These are my final reviews for you guys. These are all now officially going back into general population in my makeup room, and they're no longer going to be sitting in my speed reviews drawer. So if you've tried any of these products, have differing thoughts, or agree with me, I would love to hear it in the comments down below. As always, I will have all of the products that I mentioned in the description box, as well as tagged in YouTube shopping. I'm warning you guys, in a little bit, I will be going to Spain for my wedding. So my uploads are gonna slow down. I'm not pre-filming for that. I'm having a true vacation. I haven't taken off fully, like no pre-filming in very many times in the last few years, but this time I think I'm gonna do it. So you'll still have a few videos, but if I disappear for a little bit, I'm okay. I'm just getting married, so yeah. But that's exciting. I can't wait to share you guys the wedding stuff. If you're still here, listen to me. I haven't even thought about my hair and makeup. I've done a couple videos on wedding makeup, but at first I was settled on doing a fresh, blushy, more natural bridal look, because I feel like for my first wedding, I did go pretty glam. That was a little bit more 2020 of this style. So I wanted to do something a little bit more natural and fresh. But this video actually inspired me because every time I do like a brown semi-smoky eye like this, I just love the way it makes my eyes pop. So I was thinking like, so my wedding, it's in the night time, it's in the evening, so maybe something a little bit more glam, like a brown smoky eye, not like this, because this is random products in my face, but this kind of style, you know, but more elevated and more well done with better looking products. I love the way I look in this makeup. That's why I love the way this makes my eyes look, and it is evening, but it's also like in a greenhouse style with like lots of florals and stuff, which is why I thought, you know, a fresh look would also look good. So I don't know. I need to try the looks to see how I'm feeling, but this wasn't even an option. And today, doing this eye look, I'm like, you know, maybe I want to go brown smoky glam because I always love the way I look in makeup like this. Let me know your thoughts. I know it's hard to give me thoughts, like when you don't know what the other look looks like. Maybe I'll spend some time on TikTok and try some looks because I gotta decide what I want to pack. Okay, I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. I hope you guys have a good, fabulous day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Have a good one. I just checked, and it's almost been 2 months since my last speed reviews. I'm not surprised by that, though, because my speed reviews drawer was absolutely overflowing, so I am way past overdue for speed reviews. I have lots and lots of products today to share with you that I fully tested, worn in multiple ways, done multiple wear tests, paired with other products. I'm happy and excited to be giving you my final review on 46 makeup products. Jose, keep the tears in. You'll be okay, because I have 46 things that the audience needs to know about if you're new to my speed reviews series. I swear when I mention a new product on my channel, you will hear about it after I've fully tested it and feel confident enough to give you my final opinion, and that's what we have here today. I have 46 different products. Most of these are from the past season of makeup launches. After that whole season, I'm able to kind of give you my final thoughts. I'm getting really warm right now. So let's go ahead and get started with complexion, because I think we have 23 different complexion products to go over. It's a huge category. I go in the order of how I apply my makeup. So let's start off with the primer slash base products. So I have 2 primers. The first one is from Jane Iredale. It's the Smooth Affair Brightening Face Primer. You're gonna see a few Jane Iredale stuff because I really got to thoroughly test it when I went on a trip with them earlier last month. So I've been tested and educated on these products. So they have some gems, let me tell you. And this is one of them. This is such a smoothing primer. It's great if you have dry skin as well because it does have a nice hydration element. But if you like the feel of a very smooth base, this is what it's going to give you. The product's just going to roll and blend right over the skin, and I don't find it causes any pilling or any sort of action like that. So my skin really enjoys this. Even though it is slightly hydrating, I would say the main kind of key element of this is how smooth it makes the skin. But if you want something more hydrating, something that feels a little bit more skincare-y, I would recommend the Kulfi Serum Primer. Kulfi has been killing it. They really have some nice high quality products. This one is thinner than the Jane Iredale, and it's completely different because it's like a serum-y consistency, and I just feel like it's more hydrating and feels like a serum skincare product as opposed to the Jane Iredale. I feel like changed the way that makeup applied over this. This is just prepping the makeup for a nice hydrated base. This is really nice. It's not too heavy. It doesn't make the makeup wear too quickly or get too oily. So if you have dry skin and are looking for something more hydrating, this is a good one. It feels like skincare, like I've been saying. Now these, I don't even know what you would categorize these at. These to me, they feel serum-y, but obviously they're a color product. They're from Jouer. They're the glow serums. I have one that is for bronzing and I have one that is for luminizing. I love the way that these feel because they do feel like a skincare serum-y product, but they're a little bit picky with what they can be paired with. I, in general, am not a real big bronzing serum person, so I use this one less. But I like the way the shade Nude Glow looks as a luminizer on the skin. I think it's really beautiful on bare skin, and like I said, it feels like a serum, so it's hydrating and it's lightweight. However, it easily gets lost as soon as you put product over top of it. It also, I think when it is put on top of product, it can look a little bit glittery, and then sometimes it can get picky with the products over top. So it's not a perfect product on bare skin. I really like this, but it's a little bit picky. Moving on to the, I guess you'd call this foundation skin tint category, just that all over base color. So the first one that I have has been in my drawer since summer. I don't know how it stayed in my drawers this long, because honestly, I've been loving it, using it, and I felt very confident in giving you a final review for a long time. But here it is. This is actually one of my new favorite SPF included, I guess, skin tints, but it does give more of like a medium coverage, from Dr. Jart, the BB Premium Beauty Balm. Incredible. So aside from the fact that it also does have SPF 40, there is something about the way that this smooths over the skin. It feels really lightweight. I would say it gives a lighter side of medium coverage, and this was a summer staple for me. This is one of the best BBCC skin tint, that sort of family of products I have ever tried. It's amazing, and I feel like I haven't talked about it enough on my channel, but you can see just how like milky and smooth it looks on the skin, and it also has great lasting time as well. A really comfortable, lightweight product for the skin that gives a decent amount of coverage. And like I said, if you like that really smooth look, this is amazing. This is definitely the best foundation-y kind of product that I'm talking about in today's video. This is one of those must-have products, if you ask me. Now, what is not must-have, which I didn't dislike, but it's just one of those products where I'm like, not for me. It's from Benefit. It is their Porefessional foundation. So they semi-recently took another whack at foundations. They've tried for many years. And while this isn't a bad foundation, I personally don't love it, because I think it's definitely more for oily skin. It is a matte foundation and it feels relatively lightweight, but it's just too matte and drying on my skin. The wear time is pretty decent, but I'm just not in love with it. And there's so many good foundations out there on the market. It's too matte, it's too dry for me, and it will emphasize dry patches that I have. So not for me. I think you would enjoy it more if you have oily skin. But that being said, is it the #1 oily skin foundation I'd recommend for you? No, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's fine. Too Faced reformulated their iconic Born This Way foundation. I don't know why they did that, but it was very good before. They decided to reformulate it. I keep buying light beige. I'm not light beige. Since when was light beige so dark? Their shade range, I feel like, is very strange. Anyways, back when I used to be out in the sun all the time, light beige was my color. But then I tried vanilla and it was like too yellow on me. So I don't even know really what a good Too Faced shade is for me, but that's beside the point. I really didn't notice any difference between this and the old one, which is good news, because I did enjoy the old one. It was a formula that I used in college, so it's an older foundation for me, so it was fun to kind of retry it. But I did do side by side with the original formula, and honestly, I really didn't notice much of a difference. So whatever they did change, I can't tell. It's a nice kind of middle of the road, medium coverage foundation, not too glowy, not too drying. It's a very good foundation, and it's a good foundation that's gotten lost in the sea of new formulas. It's solid, middle of the road, no complaints here, and I don't think it's changed. And then the last foundation that I have is an affordable foundation stick from Essence. Essence is always one of those most affordable brands. This is their foundation stick. I hate this, unfortunately. It's the worst foundation in today's video. It just sits on top of the skin and looks really heavy. It doesn't look drying. It actually has a nice hydrating feel to it, but it just sits on top, is attracted to the dry patches, just looks thick and heavy and not good, and I'd just rather not with this. So I don't like it. I find when I use a brush to blend it out, it looks streaky. It's just an added layer on the skin that's not very flattering. So this one is pass for me. Don't recommend it. 3 concealers I've been testing. So the first time I used it, I wasn't too sure about this, but now I love it. It's from Jane Iredale, and it's the Pure Match Liquid Concealer. This is like butter on the skin. It's so smooth on the skin. I do find if you apply too thick of a layer on the under eyes, it will crease. It just doesn't set down to have that lasting power. However, whenever I'm wearing a concealer that sometimes just like looks dry and thin and it doesn't look flattering on the under eyes, I'll talk about which one that is because it's in today's video. I use this to go over top of the bad concealers, and it makes all of my problems go away. So when I feel like a concealer is making my under eyes look dry, this kind of goes in and fixes it because it's very, very hydrating. So don't expect it to be crease-free, especially if you layer it up a lot. But if you keep a nice thin layer of this with a good setting powder that you know, love, and trust, it will be pretty good with the longevity, and it's just so milky and thick in a good way. It's really great for spot concealing. You'll notice I have multiple shades because I love mixing different shades or adding some brightness here. I need more depth to cover my acne. I love this, super duper creamy and kind of blends into whatever you want it to. So very, very flattering. The next concealer that I've been testing is from It Cosmetics. It's their new Do It All Serum Concealer. Took me a bit to get on board with it at first because it's very, very thin. So if you're looking for a lot of coverage, you're not going to get that with this. So when I was pairing it with more full coverage foundations, obviously I wasn't as into this. But then when I started pairing it with lighter coverage, like skin tints, sort of situation, I actually really liked and appreciated how thin it was. It wears decently well, it's pretty hydrating, and it's really great to pair with those lighter coverage days because it does just enough to like veil over the dark circles. It's not going to cover them, but it is, as it's described, like a radiant, serum-y kind of concealer. That's exactly how I would describe it, and I lost my train of thought. What do I hate? Okay. I hate sometimes when I mismatch and I use a full coverage concealer and then like a tinted base, it looks weird. And then vice versa, if you have a full coverage foundation and then a lighter weight concealer that doesn't have much coverage, it looks dumb. Like you kind of need to add them up. So once I started pairing this with the right base products, I appreciated it much more for what it was. Not sold on the packaging, personally, but the formula is good. And then this one was like all over the internet, and oh my gosh. Okay, so I saw this product all over the internet. It was going very viral, one of those TikTok viral products, and as always, you know, I'm myth busting those. And this one, like, I feel a little lied to because it looked crappy on me. This is from L'Oreal. It's their Skin Ink. It's at base a concealer, but you can use it as foundation as well because it's so thin. But I mean, this is watery thin to the point where it like disintegrates like water on the skin. It also attaches itself to dry patches on my under eyes that honestly very barely exist. It emphasizes patches that really no other product emphasizes on the under eyes. So with it attaching itself to dry patches, making my under eyes look a million years old. It's like water disintegrating on the skin. Needless to say, this is a no for me. And that's when I was talking about whenever I would wear this and I'd feel like super insecure, I'd just go in with this and I'd be like, yeah, I don't look like that. It's this product. So, no. Couple setting powders, well, 3, not a couple. So this first one is an under eye setting powder, and truly it is a new holy grail product of mine. Not to be dramatic, but it is, and I really need to be dramatic with it because I feel like it's a launch that kind of fell under the radar. But ever since I tried it, I've been using it every single day, and I need you to know it is amazing. It's the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Under Eye Setting Powder. And we know Laura Mercier is the OG queen of the powders, and she did it with it. Now, also method of application I think helps. So anyways, this is meant for the under eyes. It's meant to brighten. Honestly, I don't even really feel like it brightens that well. So like choose your shade wisely because the pink shade darkens my under eye. I can really only use the translucent shade, but there's something about how finely milled this powder is. If you press it on the under eyes, it makes any concealer that I use last so much longer with very, very minimal creasing. Of course, the concealer that I use plays a part in how it creases, but it, against other powders, my under eyes will last longer with this. And I think it's just because it's just so fine. It keeps the layer so thin. I think this is going to be phenomenal for mature skin. And there's something about patting it on with this paddle brush. They call it the Camouflage Powder Brush from Laura Mercier. Obviously, you don't need to buy this one, but this is what it came with, and I've been using it since, and I just like lightly press it just on the under eyes. My under eyes, it looks soft, smooth, and it's so light, so it doesn't create any extra weight that's going to fold up in my eye creases naturally. So this like defies the laws of gravity, I feel like. It's incredible. I highly recommend. It's been a game changer for me. Seriously, nobody's talking about it. Now, the next powder feels similar, but the performance, not so much. This is from Laneige. It's their Neo Essential Blurring Finishing Powder. Super duper fine. Even more fine than the Laura Mercier, I would say. And an interesting package where if you press down on it, it literally spits powder all over my desk. A little messy, but kind of a fun concept. Super duper slippery. Like so fine that it's slippery. But I don't like this on the under eyes. It darkens my under eyes, and I feel like it doesn't set the product in, so I will crease with this. I like this on kind of the T-zone area of the face because it is so finely milled, like, you know, in this area where it will do more of a good blurring job. But let me put it this way. The way that I've been using it is because it's been in front of me, but once this goes in my drawers, I'm not going to be inclined to reach for it, so certainly I probably would never repurchase this again. So while it gets the job done at the moment, it's gonna end up in the powder graveyard because you know I only use like 3 powders. So this one's not that impressive. The next one is an affordable one, and I do like a colored powder. The setting powders are what I kind of switch between the 3, but I like a good colored powder. So Beauty Creations has a line of powders, and if you don't know, I think Beauty Creations is one of the most up-and-coming affordable makeup brands. They create some of the best products, and they have some interesting colors, like this fun pink about it. If I'm wearing a bright pink blush with this to kind of work with it, gorgeous. It's not for every day on my skin tone, only for a certain look. So the shade I've been using is Barely Beige, and this is a fine powder. It doesn't do anything in the way of, I would say, blurring, aka it doesn't blur at all. So I don't use this to set, especially my under eyes. We look a little textured whenever I do that. But after I use my setting blurring powder, then I'll go in with this to add brightness wherever I want, which is typically down here in the T-zone area. I'll even put it on my under eyes over top of the powder that I set with. So this isn't gonna blur, but it certainly will brighten, and it's nice to retouch with as well. Like, I do think I look more softened now that I've touched up with this. It's a nice powder. Again, am I running out to repurchase it? No. But I've enjoyed it a lot because I do like those touches of a colored powder. Now, this one I purchased a while ago, and I don't know how it slipped through the cracks because I've had my opinion formed on this for a while. From Anastasia Beverly Hills, it's the Shadow Smooth Blur Contour. Well, the shade is Shadow. This is the perfect contour shade on me. If you are around my skin tone and you want that perfect gray, but not too gray, purely for chiseling color, this is beautiful. It also feels a little bit more powder despite it being a cream stick, so it lasts a long time, and I think that consistency is perfect for contouring. It's almost a little too gray for my nose, so I don't love it for that, but just right here under the cheekbone where I demoed, it's perfect. It's like great for oily skin as well. If you have oily skin and you find these cream products slip and slide on the face, I think that this one's gonna have a little bit more grab for you. So this is a beautiful product, very easy to work with. Natasha Denona a while ago also launched these High Sculpt liquid bronzers, and I think, you know, I don't have anything bad to say about the formula. I just don't like a liquid bronzer that you have to squeeze out and use. And to be honest, the formula hasn't wowed me by any means. It's not bad. It works fine. It does exactly what it's meant to do. It has a nice, smooth, easy to blend out application for the most part. The colors are decent. I find myself mixing though instead of reaching for just one. It's good. I just find the method of application just with this style of product inconvenient, so it's kind of an inconvenience to use for every day. I just like a stick or something that I can just stick my brush into or onto and apply. So great lasting time, holds the pigment, holds the color. I'm not complaining about the formula here. I just don't want to reach for it. Makeup Forever is playing on a bestseller, and they launched these big old chunky wonky artist color crayon sticks. And I mean, in all the shades you can kind of imagine, kind of. So we have like contour shades, we have blush shades, we have highlight shades. So it's a whole different way that you can use them, and you can use them wherever you want. And they're based off the artist color pencils that were really thin. Now those were more waxy, powdery. These are actual creams. I find for bronzer, the shades in here to be a little awkward. Like you can use anywhere caffeine kind of as a bronzer, but it's just off. I can use it, I can get away with these as bronzer, but I just don't love any shades as bronzer. The shade Endless Cacao is gonna be that contour shade, very, very gray, very dead. So don't use it as actual bronzer. The blush shades are pretty nice. Blushing Pink is my favorite. And then they also have the highlighter, which is decent. I don't love a cream highlighter, you guys know this, but it's a decent cream highlighter. Can get a little underwhelming when you start blending in other products over top of it, but it works, it's fine. These are fine. They're just like a multi-purpose cream stick. They're a little stiffer, I would say, than what's trending right now. They're a little drier because they don't have like a super glowy finish except for the highlighters, but they're just like good, solid, big chunky color pencils that you can kind of use however you want. I don't have anything bad to say about them really, but they also aren't like products that you need to have. You know, they're not huge standouts for me, but while I'm using them, they're nice. They get the job done. Ardent Dune, Anywhere Caffeine, Endless Cacao, Glorious Bronze, Starfire Gold, Cheeky Fuchsia, Blushing Pink. Love this shade. Oh my, these are so, so good. And they're actually a unique product as well, which we know is very, very hard to do. These are the MAC Strobe Beam Liquid Blushes. They're essentially a really thin, glowy liquid blush, and these are stunning. Even though they are glowy, they're not too glowy, and they just look really fresh and hydrated on the cheek. It's a certain look. It's definitely more glowy and wet looking than a lot of other liquid blushes that I typically enjoy, but there's just something about this, and the way that it melts into the skin. You can have powder already down. Nothing is stopping it with its smooth application. It just soaks into the skin in the best way possible. And I think the finishes of these blushes are stunning. They're unique, they're glowy, they're wet but not sweaty. They're just gorgeous is all I can say. I mean, what you see in the swatches is what it gives on your cheek, and there's just not a lot of products that can achieve this quality with this finish. And there's so many shades in true MAC fashion, like a crazy purple, crazy orange, but also you have some neutral shades. You have some shades that really could just be liquid highlighter. If you're very, very fair, the shade Starlight, you'll love it. Okay, so I did show you all of the shades I have to help you. Insert that here. Lightning, Starlight, Ice Gleam, Apricot Jelly, Lava Light, Night Light, Good Vibes, Unsweetened, Magic Aura, Plummy Bear. What an underdog, amazing product. And it's actually been in my speed reviews drawer for a while for some reason. I don't know why, because I've been enjoying using them constantly because they're so beautiful. So that's another highly recommended product for me, because a lot of times with the products nowadays, you know, they're all good. These labs can make good products nowadays, but there's only a few that can really stand out and be better than everything else. That's one of them. That, the Laura Mercier powder, Dr. Jart BB Cream, those are the ones that are like, yeah, you need those. I do actually really like these cream blushes though from Summer Fridays. They're a little bit of a different finish than I'd normally prefer because they're kind of too dewy, but I like it. I think these perform really well. I think despite their dewier, wetter nature, they hold pigment really well throughout the day, and they do lose that dewiness throughout the day, but in a good way. Looks really youthful, beautiful paired with skin tints. I wouldn't recommend with too matte of a base. It's their blush butter balms, and they're very wet which is not normally how I like my cream products. I like them a little bit drier, but it does work in this situation. And every time I wear these, I think they're pretty. I'm impressed with the wear time. The shade that I demoed is Berry Spritz, but I'll show you the other shades that I have. Soft Strawberry, Toasted Terracotta, Pink Sunset, Sweet Rosé, Dusty Rose, Berry Spritz. So overall, really pretty wearable colors and a very nice formula. You just have to like that very, very dewy look. It's for a certain look, for sure. And you know, I do love me a cream blush. However, powder, I think we've forgotten the magic of a good powder blush. So I've been enjoying these ones from Jane Iredale. They're the Pure Pressed blushes. I think they just have very flattering shades. I mean, they're not doing anything crazy. These are a powder blush formula, but they're quite creamy for being powder, and they have a lot of pigment to them. Like this shade Flourish, what a gorgeous peachy color. I demoed the shade Mystique, which I don't love these for setting cream blushes because they have a lot of pigment, but it got the job done. This is a really pretty fall color, by the way. I've also been using Barely Rose, which I think leans a little bit more peachy, but really soft, creamy, easy to blend, very easily buildable because they do have a lot of pigment. These Jane Iredale blushes are. Like, I like these a lot. They're a little bit looser. You can not be very heavy-handed with these. I recommend a lighter hand, but they're really nice. Powder blushes, a powder blush is a powder blush. They're hard to mess up. But I also picked up this one a while ago from Sephora, and I forgot about it, so I'm adding it in this video because I've been using it recently. I was very specific with why I picked up the shade Sex Appeal. This is like a generic powder blush formula that I very much enjoy. These are iconic classic shades in the line. So this one is great for the fair girls. I use this to kind of blend out my blush or when I want a barely there blush look, because even though I will very comfortably go out looking like a clown, sometimes a look I think I don't want to look like a clown. And this is what I will reach for, knowing how heavy-handed I am. I also think it's beautiful just to like blend out other blushes to soften them. Like, do you see how that just blended it out? Because this doesn't have a lot of pigment. There's other blushes in the NARS line that will give you a lot more pigments if that's what you're looking for. Don't worry about it. But this shade specifically I use to blend out other blushes or for a barely there blush look. And it's beautiful. And then to finish off complexion section, we have 3 setting sprays. Finishing sprays, whatever. The One Size Until Dawn Mattifying Sunscreen Makeup Setting Spray. I should have never put this in my speed reviews drawer to begin with because I don't want a mattifying spray. This I can't breathe when I apply it because it's like hairspray. It does make your makeup last longer. And then bonus points for SPF 28, though this should never replace your actual SPF application. But a little extra layer don't hurt nobody. But it's mattifying, so I didn't find myself reaching for it very often. God, I hate applying that. But it does what it does and mattifies your makeup and makes it last longer, but I never wanted to reach for it. And then next one, like I love it, but for some reason it chokes me. I cannot lie. I like choke and cough every time I use it. It's the Jane Iredale Palm Mist Hydration Spray, and I love the formula of this. It is very hydrating, it is very refreshing, but I don't know, the fragrance in it is so strong, and I enjoy the fragrance. Like it smells amazing, you guys. But for some reason, whenever I spray it, I like choke. I choke a little bit. But I really like it, so I continue to use it. But it just gets in the back of my throat and chokes me. But it's really good for hydrating the makeup. Pretty strong spray. Your face is gonna get pretty wet with this if you go in like I do, which I like. I like doing that. It does hydrate the skin, but I choke when applying it, so I like it though. But if I want something that changes the finish of my makeup, really gives it that glassy appearance, I do quite like the Pat McGrath Labs Glass 001 Setting Spray. Really fine. And really does leave a glassy look to the skin. It's quite impressive. I also very much enjoy the sprayer here, but it's like, it does give an everyday glass effect. It's not all day lasting. I mean, if you really want to, like, yeah, with the proper products, you can last all day glassy, but it's just that lightweight finishing touch to still give life to the skin. It's actually quite good. I did see they did just launch the mattifying version of it. I'm not jumping for joy over that. I have dry skin. I need something more hydrating. But I will say, I can why do I have all these baby hairs? I can stand by this as being a good product. And you know, right now I have some problems with Pat McGrath Labs. But that is a good setting spray. I enjoy it a lot. So those are all of the complexion products. 23 products, some major hits, some major misses as well. But we still have 23 more products to hit in the eyes and the lips category. So I will see you tomorrow for part 2. So we can break this up a bit. You can have a break. My editor can have a break. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not. If you want to see all of the, I guess, from the latest season, my final thoughts after using those new products for the eyes and lips. And if you're watching this after this video is posted, I'll have part 2 posted down below for you, so you can just head on over there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of all of the complexion products that I've been testing and loving. As always, I will have them linked down below for you. Shades I use, everything like that will be there. And I will see you guys tomorrow, so have a good one. 46 speed reviews. You heard that right, but this is actually part 2 for the new eyes and lips section. If you missed it, part 1 was posted yesterday. It was all about complexion, so maybe you're coming from that video or you're just clicking on this one. Anyways, speed reviews on my channel. All of these are products that I've tested multiple times, multiple ways, multiple wear tests, and I'm here to give you my final thoughts, because I'm not going to talk about a product on my channel and then never talk about it again. You're going to hear my final thoughts. I'm going to see it all the way through. And since it's been a couple months since my last speed review, we have a lot to talk about, which is why I split it into 2 parts, to give each product its moment as speedy as possible, but still, you know, a moment. And most of these products are from the previous season, because I took the whole season to figure out my thoughts and just some other random bits that I've been testing. So if you haven't checked out Complexion, I'll have that linked down below. But let's get into the eyes and the lips. Lips is such a big category, always. But we'll start off with eyes. So first I have a brow gel that was sent to me from Thrive Cosmetics. This is the Liquid Brow Lamination. And the gel itself is nice. I do not like the application on this. Don't look at my demo too closely, because I am supposed to apply this before foundation, but I didn't. But once this dries down, it actually has a phenomenal hold. It will hold all day, but I find I struggle with the product being so wet to really place the hairs where I want them and for them to actually stay. So the Rare Beauty is my favorite, right? And that one, as soon as I place the hairs, it guides them, it holds them, it dries down, no issue. This is almost so wet that the brow hairs don't go where I want, and then they'll dry where they want. So if you have the patience for this to dry a little bit and then to kind of brush it out again, great brow gel, nice strong hold, but I don't like the application of this. I have 2 eyeshadow stick formulas, and for a while every eyeshadow stick was failing, and I feel like we're getting there. We're getting some good ones. So we'll first talk about these ones from Jane Iredale. These are the Color Luxe eyeshadow sticks. These have a mixture of matte shades and shimmer shades. Here are all the shades that I have: Alabaster, Moonstone, Saddle, Gatsby, Rosé, Bronze, Dove Gray, Americano, Ivy, and Midnight. I like these. Now, there's some pros and cons to these. Number one, I do find them to overblend, so they very easily lose a lot of the pigment. Like when I did my outer corner color, you saw Americano. It's so dark, but when blended out, it's not nearly as dark as you would expect it to be. The pro to that is these are super easy to blend out. So if you're intimidated by cream eyeshadow sticks, these are gonna blend. Like if you are not good at blending things, these are gonna blend beautifully. They also stay put, so they don't crease. The shimmers here are pretty subtle, so they're gonna be very flattering on mature eyelids, which I think are really pretty. So I do like these, but be aware they over blend. So if you want that maximum pigment, you have to lay it down and blend the edges as opposed to blending the whole product itself, because it will kind of blend away. But like I said, it does last a long time once it's down, so I can put up with that for sure. And it's very quick and easy. You don't have to worry about it getting stuck in one place. Now, the other eyeshadow stick that I've been testing, and I was unsure about these at first, but I've decided I enjoy them a lot. The Urban Decay Naked Eyeshadow Sticks. I think the shades in the range are beautiful. Again, a mixture of mattes, shimmers, even some glitter shades. Top off, Blurred Out, Peach Bum, Exposed, Toasty, Private Album, Senescent, and Tasteful. The matte shades, beautiful, blend easy, don't have anything to say about those. Some of the shimmer shades are unflattering on the eyelid. They just look a little crusty because the glitters, like if you have a mature eyelid, it's just not going to look right because it looks crackly on my eyelid sometimes. So some shades I like and some shades I don't. I wish they had more shimmers that were a little smoother on the eyelid. But I will say, there is a shade in particular that is so stunning all over the lid. The shade Toasty. It does have some glitters in it, but it just works. It's really, really glam and beautiful. The way I'm demoing it right now is not doing it justice. But if there's one shade you need to get that does have a little bit of glitter, but not in an unflattering way, it's the shade Toasty. But these also last a good amount of time. They don't crease. These are both very good eyeshadow formulas, but they both have their pros and cons. Okay, eyeliner pencil that I've been using a lot has been from Westmore Beauty. These are their Lasting Effects Soft Glide Liners. Super duper creamy, very easy to blend, but then they set down and they have pretty decent wear time. I haven't loved these though. Like the wear time is decent, but it's a little too creamy on application. And then when I use a brush, I don't really like the way that it blends out. It's just not a favorite of mine. I don't have anything too terrible to say about these. They're a little too pigmented too, if you ask me. And they don't set as hard as I would like them to. I don't know, they're just meh. Like there are other pencils out there that I prefer over this one. They got the job done, but I think they're too creamy, too pigmented, because I always have to go in and fix things, and then they do fade over time. So it's a meh pencil. Got the job done. I've been using them since they've been in my speed reviews drawer, but once they hit main population, I'm not gonna reach for these. So you're better off with like Urban Decay or something. 3 mascaras. The first one that I have is from MAC. This is the MAC Stack Elevated Mascara. Now do keep in mind, my lashes are like underwhelming, but this is very good in the volume department, and I would say it holds a curl decently well. I've enjoyed this mascara a lot. Sorry, my reviews of these mascaras are not gonna go very far because at the end of the day, if I want my lashes to look nice, you know, I'm gonna pop on a falsie. But I do think that these hold a curl well, and they did add some volume and definition, and it's very, very black. This is a good mascara. It gives me good length too. I hate all mascaras on my lashes because I hate my lashes. At least I can admit it. Okay, next mascara. Another nice one, actually, from Kosas. It's their Soul Gazer mascara. This one also holds a curl really, really well. It definitely doesn't give as much volume as the MAC, but it gives some nice separation and length. Decent, but wouldn't repurchase. It's not like an all-time favorite of mine. I think it takes just like a tad too long to dry down before I can get a curl on this. It's like kind of middle of the road, but I've enjoyed it. And then last mascara, we're moving fast because I really don't care. CoverGirl Lash Blast Bond Mascara. This one feels lightweight on the lashes. It separates the lashes really well. However, it gets flaky, like black snow all over my face at the end of the day, and we just can't have that, okay? I cannot have a mascara that leaves black flakes all over my face at the end of the day. So despite me actually enjoying this formula and the way that it looks on my lashes, cannot stand the black flakes on my face. So don't really recommend that one. I think of the 3, MAC's Elevated Mascara might be my favorite, but none of these are like, whoa, at first use kind of products. So I still have my favorites, and these are not it. So that's it for eyes. Eyes are typically a pretty small category, so we're gonna get into lips because lip it's lip bonanza out there. Like, there's too many lip products, and all of them kind of mush in my brain to perform the same. They all kind of do the same things. They all advertise the same ingredients, the same function, all of that. So I'll tell you my standouts, and I'll tell you the ones that are just meh. So let's get started with lip masks, because lip masks are huge, but actually there are some really fun ones that launch. So in the fun department, Laneige launched 2 different flavors of their lip sleeping masks recently. So they did a collaboration with Baskin Robbins, which hence the ice cream scoop, Rainbow Sherbet. I'm not a Rainbow Sherbet girl when it comes to ice cream flavors, but this has that fun spiral of colors. Smells very, very fruity. And then they also launched Strawberry Shortcake, which this had 3 different layers. I did a stupid video mixing it all up, which if you mix it all up, it becomes like the lip gloss because it becomes soft. This one definitely has a more creamy scent to it. Smells very different than Rainbow Sorbet. I like it. You know, it's, if you've tried a Laneige lip mask before, these aren't anything you haven't already tried. But I think the flavors and collaborations that they're doing recently are really, really fun. Are Laneige lip masks my favorite anymore? No, but I still really like them and I still use them constantly. So those are just some fun flavors. But the most fun flavors, and this launch might excite me even more than the Laneige. ColourPop has taken a whack at these lip mask and lip scrub style things. Hold on. Lip scrubs are less popular, but my crusty dusty lips do need a lip scrub every now and then. But the flavors here, listen to these. Vanilla cake, strawberry milk, pistachio gelato, jelly donut, chocolate milkshake, orange vanilla. If you are food motivated like me and you love food themed, food scented things, the flavors match up to the real food item. And that's just the incentive to get me to use these. Now, they have each flavor available in a lip mask and in a lip scrub formula. I just kept some lip masks and some lip scrubs. The chocolate milkshake, unreal, and so is jelly donut. It's weird, but I like it. The lip mask is fine. It's not like an all-time favorite, but it gets the job done. But I've always have enjoyed the lip scrub formula from ColourPop. So these are fun little doodads, and I love the flavors. And then this one I'm mentioning because it's just a really good lip mask formula. So Pharmacy launched a lip smoothie in strawberry, and this is so artificially sweet strawberry in the best way. I enjoy it a lot, and I do think that this is the best performing lip mask out of all the lip masks in today's video, and it's just like a sweet basic strawberry scent. So I really like the new flavor that they've added. I have 4 different lip liner formulas that I've been working through. So we'll start off with the drugstore one. They're not new at all. They must be re-promoting them. Honestly, I got these in a PR package and I was like, wait, the colors are really good and neutral. So these are the Rimmel Lasting Finish lip liners. To note, these don't have a lasting finish. These are not lip liners that set. So they're gonna disappear on the lips kind of quickly, especially if you pair it with a product that's like a gloss or something slippery. These are gonna slip right off with a gloss. A wax pencil like this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just not a long wear lip liner. But the colors are great, but it is a great lip liner. Basic formula, just doesn't set down like a gel one, so do note that. My favorite shades are 90s Nude and Cappuccino, which is what I'm wearing right now, but I'll show you the other shades that I have. Cappuccino, 90s Nude, Spice, Pink Candy, Brownie Pie, Bitten Red. These are good, just note that they're not a long wear formula now. If you want a long wear formula, these Fenty pencil lip liners are insane. Now, these aren't even my favorite lip liner formula because they are so creamy. Like, it just kind of goes all over the place when you apply it. But I put up with it because these last all day. So these are the newer shades that they launched. Apricot, They So Vine, Whiskey, Bordeaux. I obviously haven't reached for the deeper, more plum shades. I think I'm gonna be more drawn to them come this fall, which is coming very soon, / winter. So the shade that I've really only been wearing is Apricot, and I normally don't go for a lip liner quite this light, but it's really, really beautiful. So I don't love the formula, but I cannot deny the wear time. Now this next lip liner formula, so weird, from MAC. These are the MAC lip glazers, and these are supposed to be a glossy lip liner. So when I saw that, I was like, these are gonna be disgusting. I don't even know why I opened them. Honestly, they're not that bad. They're much better than I anticipated. They're not super glossy on the lips. It's not like putting lip gloss on the lips. They have some body to them, but they are more sheer and buildable, and they definitely have a little bit of a sheen to them. So these actually I find look very, very natural on the lips, and they are quite hydrating, and they do have some grip to the lips. Now, they're not gonna set down like a long-lasting liner. These, you know, they can be blended away, but they're a little sticky due to their finish, which I actually think helps grab onto the lips and last longer. So these are better than I thought that they were. They're not gonna give instant pigment. You kind of need to build them up, but I'm not gonna use them. And then the last lip liner formula that I've been testing is from Jane Iredale, where they have really beautiful shades. I had no clue. Now, these are not a formula that's set down either, so these are better for touch-ups or for applying over lip color, and just be aware if you place it with something glossy, it's all gonna kind of go away. That's just the nature of these products. But the two shades that I've been into, Spice is kind of like a great everyday mauve lip color. And then to deepen that up, add a little bit more definition, surprisingly terracotta. Also, when I hear the word terracotta, I think like really, really warm. This does not really give your traditional terracotta. It's actually very natural on the lips. And these I think are a little bit more powdery than the Rimmel. I think these are better quality than the Rimmel. And they do have a little bit more stick and hydration to the lips. If we were to compare, they're two very different price points here. But these also don't set down, so you're gonna blend them, layer them, reapply them, and all of that. But these shades are gorgeous. Okay, we're moving on to the color lip products. We'll start off with these little tinted lip balms, a cute summer product. They were obviously a summer launch, and these were fun. These are the Covergirl Clean Fresh Tinted Lip Balms, and normally these kind of products, they don't really appeal to me, but I actually love these little tinted lip balms. They give a pretty, like a surprisingly good amount of color to the lips, but they're still buildable, but they actually have impact on the lips. It's not a product where like you can only buy one shade. These build up, they're hydrating, they're comfortable to just throw into your purse, throw on the lips, grab on the go. They're like a casual lip product, exactly what you would expect from a tinted lip balm. They don't feel too heavy, they have a little bit of shine. You can get less color or pigment if you apply less, blend out with your finger. These are a really good tinted lip balm. Not my typical style of products, but I feel like they did a great job with that. And then a new lipstick formula. If you missed it, I talked about it. I went on a trip with Jane Iredale like a month ago, so I really got to know the products. I really took that time to test the products while I was there, and it's easy to see now what has translated into products that I will use in everyday life. And these lipsticks are gorgeous. I've been using these a lot. These are the Color Luxe lipsticks. I have quite a few shades. They definitely have more in the line, but these are the ones that I've kept for myself. Desert Rose, Passion Fruit, Candy Apple, Poppy, and Bordeaux. I just love how versatile these are. So these are just like your classic lipstick formulation. I think they have a little bit of extra hydration, but they're quite pigmented. But you can also use your finger, blend them out for something really natural. I actually like the deeper shades, just using my finger to blend them out, and I find it almost becomes like a lip stain with great longevity, or you can build it up for more hydration and for something that just looks a little bit more plump on the lips. I tend to do that with the lighter shades like Desert Rose. Just a good classic lipstick, and with me having smaller lips, I do prefer these slimmer style lip products. So I've been reaching for these a lot. I think the colors are great. The versatility and how I wear them with what intensity I want has been fantastic. So I've enjoyed that a lot. It really does feel like a luxe lip product. And now we have a few hydrating kind of style lip products. The first one, you know, the glossy lip things that are all the same. All the brands do them now. So the first one that I have is from Essence, which, you know what, at least there's an affordable option. These aren't all of the shades. These are just the two I have. We have the Super Peptide Glossy Lip Treatment. These are a little stiff on the lips, and they don't have enough gloss for me. So these aren't my favorite formula. They get the job done. They give a glow. They give some color. But I will admit, the price is reflected in the quality in this. So it's okay. I don't hate them because all of these kind of run the same, but if as a makeup reviewer and being specific, I can tell that these are cheaper. I don't love them as much. What I do like more Actually, I think these are quite good. They still kind of blend in with all the others, but these are quite good. These are from Glow Recipe. These are the Glass Balms. Same thing. Glowy, glassy, lip balm gloss hybrid. These have a good amount of pigment, especially if you get into the deeper shades. So you're actually going to see some color. They're very glassy. They have a decent amount of stick, so decent wear time given the style of product that this is, and quite hydrating. So these do the job. They do a good job. I like these ones a lot. And they're like Korean dessert themed, like ice bingsu. How fun. Like bingsu is like shaved ice, pretty much. I think Korea's version of it. So I do like those. One that I did not like was from Milk. These are the Balmades, and these are so slippery on the lips. They like take everything off that I'm wearing. So I don't like these personally. All of them, they're clear. So pretty much whatever shade you get, you only need one if you're gonna try this formula because they look the same on the lips. And then again, like they wipe my lip liner right off because they're so slippery. They slide all over the place. I don't like these at all. I don't recommend these ones. So these ones stand out in a bad way for these style of products. Sorry, Milk. And then I also have a lip oil formulation from the brand Beauty Creation. These are their tinted lip oils. I only kept a few, and Beauty Creation to me is like the up-and-coming affordable makeup brand. I think not only are they creating trending products, but they're also doing a good job of it while keeping their price points low. Unfortunately though, the tinted lip oil, not my go-to. They're a little lackluster. They're very thin. They don't give enough of a glow to the lips, and they have like no wear time at all. So not my recommendation if you're going to order from Beauty Creation. They have a lot of other products that I really love, but these were kind of underwhelming. I also have this new formula from MAC that I've been testing, the Lip Gloss Blow. This, oh my god, this burns. This is a plumping lip gloss, and I really do think it does a nice job of plumping the lips, but baby, it burns. This is Ginger Zinger. She really is a zinger. So yeah, if you just want something glossy, glowy, and gonna burn the poo out of your lips, this one is gonna do that. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I like applying it at the beginning, letting my lips feel all tingly, and then applying whatever I want because it does totally irritate my lips in the best way. So this, it's a good job, and it is super duper glowy on the lips as well. So I like this formula a lot. Unfortunately, I know these are kind of a classic formula, the MAC lip glasses. From this specific collection at least, I hate these colors. The shade Snobbish I thought was gonna be beautiful. It looks horrible. This is a shade that I demoed. The shade Frozen, I just don't like this iridescent color of gloss. I currently, as I'm speaking, am wearing the shade Accolade. This formula is just meh. Like there's nothing special to it. Nothing, like at this point, with the formula of this, you might as well just use the Beauty Creations. That's how underwhelming these are. And I don't have like the classic line of MAC lip glosses. Are these the same formula? Is this the lip gloss we were in love with years ago? Because if that's the case, it's kind of underwhelming as a gloss. It's thin, kind of slips and slides into the fine lines of the lips. I don't like this gloss formula. But we're gonna finish off with a strong product because it is a lip gloss that I really like. I don't want to say like my new favorite gloss formula, but I've been enjoying these a lot from Jane Iredale. These are the Color Luxe High Impact Glosses. These are gorgeous, and like the lipsticks, I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can wear this. Don't be afraid of the deep shades because these do have a decent amount of pigment, but they're so much more natural and less intimidating on the lips. But this shade Au Naturel is just like the perfect everyday gloss to go with just like a perfect neutral brown lip liner, and they're quite hydrating. They don't feel sticky at all, but they have a decent wear time, but they have those good hydrating ingredients. Just the perfect level of pigment, perfect level of thickness, and a gloss that you grab for because you know it's gonna look good regardless. You don't have to work and mess with it. So just like solid good lip gloss formula with beautiful shades in their line. So I really like those Jane Iredale glosses. It was a product where I had a few shades. I wasn't that excited about it because it's just a lip gloss. But then I found myself mindlessly reaching for it because I knew it was gonna look good. So that's how I can tell I like a product. Even if it doesn't excite me, at base, I know it's a good quality product. If I'm not thinking about too much what I'm grabbing for, if I'm grabbing for that product, because I can rely on it, I know it's good. And that's just one of those products. So we did it, you guys. 46 product speed reviews. All of these I am now taking into my general population in my makeup room. Now that you know my final thoughts, signed, sealed, delivered. Those are my stamps of approval or not approved on these products. So let me know if you've tried any of these. As always, all of the products that I've mentioned will be down below, as well as part 1, which is some of the recent complexion that I've tried. Like I said, I was behind for like 2 months on my speed reviews. So very, very soon, I think I might have a dedicated Sephora one coming up of the newer-ish products that have launched that I've been testing lately, because these have all been in line to be speed reviewed for a while. They really were well cooked on my thoughts here. So hope you guys enjoyed the speed reviews. I hope you guys are continuing to enjoy my speed review series, because these are one of the biggest efforts on my channel. We'll say that. Lots of commitment from both parties, my husband and I. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you like it so that I know that you do. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys, have a good one. Are we ready for one of our favorite series, at least one of my favorite series, speed reviews? Today I have 20 makeup products that I am going to be giving you an update on. If you're new to my channel, I love a speed review. This is one of my most frequent series, I would say, that I do on my channel. I test a product. I promise you, you're not going to see it just once on my channel. I'm going to continue to test it. And these are the final updates, final thoughts on these products. I've officially used these products in multiple ways with multiple wear tests, multiple products, where I can give you my final opinion on them after pretty thoroughly testing these. So I have 20 in today's video, a little bit of a smaller speed reviews, but quality over quantity, right? We have some good products. So let's go ahead and get started with the complexion portion. So this first one, it was sitting in my speed reviews drawer for a while, simply because I just don't love a product like this. This is from Natasha Denona. It's the Hygiene Bronze Energizing and Hydrating Primer Serum. Now the formulation of this is beautiful. This is just a shade that she dropped this summer, and I love the original one. It's just like a lighter glowy one. It's not a bronzy one. This is a thicker serum consistency, but for my dry skin, I love it, and I find that it does come through on the makeup that I put over top. So especially if you have dry skin and you like a glow, this formulation is gorgeous. It's effective. It's great before makeup. However, the bronze shade I didn't reach for as much, because you see the demo, I look dirty, okay? But the reason that I use it today is I do actually like to use a bronze shade like this occasionally if the product that I'm putting over top is a little bit too light on me. So in this case, it worked for today, but that's not always the case. So don't use this shade often, but I do recommend this formula. This one also was sitting in my speed reviews drawer longer than I would like, not because I didn't like it, but because it's way too light for me. And though I didn't get much sun this summer, I must have gotten a little bit more tan, because this does match me a lot better now. Though if you're a skin tone match with me, don't get this shade. But I did pick up the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Enhancing Tint a while ago, but I really, really love this. I got the shade T3, so it was too light. So especially this summer, I wasn't using it. But with the combination of this and a bronzing serum like the Natasha Denona, I've been able to make this work. This is beautiful. It's like a creamy milk for the skin. Obviously, it gives really light coverage, but it looks really hydrating, and it's so thin that sometimes I'll even put it on my under eyes as well. Extremely hydrating. This is a gorgeous, luxurious product. It reminds me a lot of the new Armani skin tint, but this is even creamier and a little bit better. It's a shame I'm stupid and purchased such a light shade for myself, but we're at the point in the year where with a little bit of adjustments I can get it to work. So I've been wearing this honestly all week. I've brought it back out and I've re-fallen in love with it. I think it's a beautiful lightweight skin tint that's hydrating. Highly recommend for dry skin. Wears beautifully, looks a little bit glowy. It doesn't stick to any dry patches. I have nothing but good things to say about this gorgeous skin tint, and it just like soaks into the skin beautifully as you spread it out. This is a gorgeous product. I ordered this on your guys' recommendation, so thank you. It's a gorgeous product. Another beautiful skin tint style product that I love is the Chantecaille Future Skin Oil Free Gel Foundation. Now, I've talked about this for years, so why is it in a speed review? It's because a few months ago, they reformulated this. Always scary a reformulation, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there's so many reasons for a reformulation. So this one, they say it's infused with more skincare ingredients. I'm just here to confirm. Doesn't seem any different to me. This is still the beautiful oil-free gel foundation that I fell in love with years and years ago. It just blends into the skin, extremely hydrating. It's a little thicker with its gel consistency than the Lisa Aldridge, which is much more watery, but these have a similar effect on the face. This one's just a little bit thicker, and it's lightweight. Your skin can breathe through it. Of course, it's going to give super light coverage as well, which I'm able to get a little bit more coverage when I pair it with concealers and whatnot, but this has been a favorite everyday foundation of mine for years. If you don't mind your freckles and stuff coming through, you just want a hydrated look that's a little bit more even, I highly recommend it. This feels like a skincare product because it essentially is. Chantecaille, in my opinion, does their best work when it comes to their skincare, even though it is very, very expensive. But that's like a hybrid product where it's like a skincare moisturizer, but also evens out the color of your skin tone all in one. Recommended that for years. If you have sensitive skin, it's phenomenal, phenomenal product. Just wanted to update with that reformulation. We are still loving it. Now, this one is such a good, affordable product. We just talked about some very expensive items. Beauty Creations, I think, is such an underrated brand when it comes to affordable brands. So they launched this natural cream blend highlight and contour palette. Kind of reminds me of the Makeup Forever, but this is a complete different creamy, melty, malleable consistency. If you have oily skin, I wouldn't recommend this because, I mean, it slips and slides if you're not careful, if you don't have the proper base and setting and all of that. But I've loved how creamy this is with skin tints in particular, because it kind of just blends and melts into those skin tints. I've been loving this past week for quick throw on 5-minute face, Lisa Aldridge skin tint, and then I'll melt this shade right here into the skin, but it is super duper creamy, so do keep that in mind. But I do love this little palette. And then I also use this peach shade to brighten my under eyes. Sometimes I'll put it on top of concealer. It's not like the most smoothing, but again, it's almost like you're painting to highlight the face. And sometimes I'll mix in some of this if I want to get a little bit deeper. Now, I don't use every single shade in this, so that is something you want to keep in mind. I have the shade Sand. They do offer different colors, but the shades that I do use, which are 3 of them, I really enjoy. This palette has a little bit of a yellowy undertone, but I really love it. It's a great price point, and it's really, really creamy. Comparing it to the Makeup Forever cream palettes, if you're familiar with those are a little bit more dry, not in a bad way, but just compared to the two. This is a cream that will never dry down, so keep that in mind. But I've been enjoying that thoroughly. I think it's a great, great product. I have a few blush products as well, since, you know, we're in this blush boom, and but for what seems like the last 2 years. But these are actually a brand new product, but luckily I've been testing it for a while because I got my hands on it early. Oh, so this new launch is from Jane Iredale. These are the Color Luxe liquid blushes. So I went on a trip with them a couple of months ago, and they revealed these to us, sent us home with every color, literally, as you can see with the shades. These are not necessarily lab samples, but you see they didn't have the final packaging down on these. So I've been using these off camera for the last couple of months. These are a nice, really lightweight blush. These I would recommend more so for thinner bases like skin tints, or even on bare skin, because they are a very liquidy consistency, but you can build up the pigment if you want. I don't find that they break up anything underneath. Really beautiful, sheers out really nice if you don't like too heavy of a blush, and a gorgeous color range. No complaints on these. My biggest thing of these really is due to their thinner nature. Like I said, I do prefer to apply them with skin tints or just a thinner base in general, but they're really gorgeous and natural. Here's a photo of the swatches for all of these blushes if you want some shade racks. Cinnamon Girl is the perfect toasty fall blush. The shade that I demoed was Wild Child, which is that peachy shade. And then you guys know I like my neutral peach or my neutral pinky blushes, Sugar Magnolia. So these are the 3 that I've been using the most. You can also layer them and mix them, and it's just overall very, very solid liquid blush formula that's a little less intense if you feel like the liquid blushes are a bit too intense for you with the ones that are coming out. The other liquid blush that I've been testing is from Moira. Moira comes out with some amazing products as well at a pretty affordable price point. These are the Love Steady Shimmer Blushes. So the shades that I have, the deeper one is That Girl, and then the lighter one is Dreamful. I wanted to like these. They're okay. I guess I do like them, but I don't love these. They're very, very shimmer heavy, which is the name, the intention of the product, but I find that it looks like textured on my cheek. I can see the little glimmer particles. It's just not smooth on the cheek. I like a glow, I guess, not necessarily a shimmer. I don't have any issues with the application of these. The consistency is great. These are just the colors that I kept for myself, but I don't feel a need to keep any more colors because I just don't love this formula. I don't see myself reaching for it. The shimmer in here is too literal. It's too PC, and I can kind of see it on my face. So I did not end up loving these, unfortunately. And it's not like a tragedy. When I put it on my face, it looks okay, but as somebody who does this for a living, you guys know I need to be picky, and there's just better out there. I'm not reaching for this beyond it being in my speed reviews drawer. And then the last blush, I don't know why this took me so long to throw this in a speed reviews video because it's so good. I've been enjoying it. This is from Sephora Collection, and it's kind of a banger. It's a really good pickup at Sephora without breaking the bank at Sephora. This is the Blush 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 Trio, and I have the shade Candy Lover. Very, very high quality product. I know sometimes people feel like Sephora Collection can be hit or miss, and they're constantly changing their stock and reformulating, but this is a great product. So we have a cream blush right here. Obviously, I chose the brightest pink color. Then we have a matte blush, and then a blush that's not quite a flat finish, but both of these are powders. I will say between the flat and the, I guess, satin finish, they aren't different enough for me. I would have liked the satin finish to be a little bit more shimmery, almost like a highlight blush hybrid, because I think they look a little too similar. But beyond that, this is really great quality and a gorgeous product. And if I didn't own as many blushes as I did, I would consider actually purchasing another color because I love the different textures in here and even the different finishes, despite the satin blush not being as like shimmery as I would like. But really great product, really high quality from Sephora Collection here. A couple different pressed powders. I had tried this prior a while back, but I rediscovered it when I went on that Jane Iredale trip. So I do want to talk about the Pure Pressed Base, which is one of their longest standing products, one of their best sellers, and I get it now. And I fell in love with this powder specifically when one of their makeup artists used it on me to set my makeup, and I was like, my skin looks so smooth and airbrushed, and it was this powder. So I've been loving this for setting my makeup. Now this can be used as a mineral foundation for the face. It's going to give lighter coverage, and I have preached how much I love powder foundation, but I have not been using powder foundation lately. But I do like a powder foundation right now to set my makeup because I feel like it just makes the skin look really airbrush and perfected. It's not a lightweight thing, but it locks the makeup in. But I really do feel like this gives such an airbrushed appearance to the skin. But it's also beautiful as a light, natural powder foundation if you're into that. I can't believe I haven't been using powder foundations as much lately, but I've been loving this to set my makeup, and because it's a foundation, it does have a little bit of extra color, so I like this lighter shade to brighten up the areas of my face, but I get the hype now. This is a beautiful smoothing powder that's multifunctional. I actually do have a second powder foundation, interestingly enough, even though I haven't been using them. I did use this a few times as a powder foundation because this is like a true fuller coverage powder foundation. Jane Iredale is a little bit more light and natural and beautiful to just with a kabuki brush throw on. This one is like you mean business even with a powder foundation. A few months ago, MAC reformulated their OG Studio Fix Powder Plus foundation. It had been so long since I've used the original one. I don't even know if I've ever used the original one, if I'm being honest. I was really young if I did. So I can't speak to the reformulation, but this is a powder foundation that means business. It can pretty much give you a full coverage look if you pair it with the right base products. And it's gorgeous, you guys. It is a gorgeous powder foundation. Lately, how I've been using it is just like the Jane Iredale, to set the makeup. This one just means a little bit more business. It's a little bit more hefty. It's a little bit more coverage, but it's also so beautiful to set the makeup. Dare I say, maybe even a little smoother than the Jane Iredale, but she's thick, she's creamy, but she's a beautiful powder foundation. And even though I haven't been preaching my own word, don't sleep on a good powder foundation. These MAC ones, well, this MAC one is beautiful. I use the shade N4. And then to finish off complexion, I have 3 different setting sprays. So I have 2 from the same brand because Hard Candy did a lot of setting sprays. They have more than just these. These are the ones that I've been testing. So the first one is the Glow on Lock setting spray. This is kind of a dupe, if you will, for the Iconic London. Really does make my makeup look more glowy. I mean, I think it did add an illuminating finish to the skin. You just need to be careful because this can affect wear time. When it comes to these glowier setting sprays, they're not actually setting. They're like finishing the look, which can disrupt the wear time, which is the case with this, but it's not bad. I have dry skin though, so keep that in mind. But this does give a little extra glow to the skin. But the one that I've been using a little bit more than that one is the Grip on Lock setting spray. I actually like applying this prior to my makeup. I feel like it makes my skin a little too wet and it almost unsets my makeup when I use the Grip on Lock on top of my makeup. This is really beautiful with hydration, which is why I like to apply this before I do my makeup. If I don't want something too heavy, I just want a light spritz, I will do this. It also adds a slightly tacky base, not really anything crazy, but that's why I like to apply my makeup over top of it. It doesn't grip the makeup and make it difficult to blend. But when I put it on top, I do find my makeup moves a little bit more, so don't love it on top, but love it underneath makeup. And then the last setting spray, this one has just been sitting in my drawer. It does the job, but it doesn't stand out. It's not a game-changing setting spray by any means, but if you didn't know, MAC has a Fix Plus that's made to make makeup stay longer. And does it make my makeup last longer? I really can't say. I have no clue, honestly. I think it surely does a better job than the original Fix Plus, which is not supposed to make makeup last longer anyways, but this has those ingredients to help the makeup stay longer, to set the makeup, but it does nothing like monumental, honestly. There are so many better long-lasting setting sprays. If you truly need a longer set, I wouldn't go for this, but this might be good for somebody with dry skin because it should make makeup last longer. I haven't noticed it making a big difference on me, but it definitely does way more than the original. So just a meh product, I would say. All right, let's work our way into eyebrows. 2 eyebrow gels, and you know I hate to stray away from my favorite, but I have been for the sake of the review, you know? So the first one that I've been trying, the demo is gonna make you laugh. I look a mess. But it's been the Thrive Cosmetics Instant Brow Fix. So they say this is a semi-permanent eyebrow gel. There's nothing permanent about this. You can just take a makeup wipe and wipe it off. But it's a tinted brow gel, which I do not like tinted brow gels really. I don't incorporate them into my routine very often unless I'm going for a super natural day because I like to shape my brows with a brow pencil. That being said, in the world of tinted brow gels, this is a very nice one. So in order for me to use a tinted brow gel, this must be the absolute first thing that gets put on top of my face because I just run it through my brows without a worry. I get it all over my face. I look crazy, and then I take a makeup wipe and kind of clean and shape it. And so we're able to get a nice deeper color, but it just looks a little messy to me. Not this product in particular, but just a tinted brow gel in general. But that's how I use a tinted brow gel. I'll use a tinted brow gel for really natural makeup days where I don't want that sculpted, defined look, which is not often. So that's why I don't use these very often. But in the world of tinted brow gels, this one's really good. I don't find that it looks too clumpy in the brows. And then the gel itself actually has a decent hold as well. So this will hold its shape. So if you like a tinted brow gel, this is a good one. Not too clumpy, not too wet, not too thick, and holds the brows well. But is this gonna enter my everyday routine anytime soon? No, but it does pass the test. And then the other one that I've been using, this one is interesting, from Grande Cosmetics. It's the Grande Brow Laminate Brow Styling Gel. Now this one is a little bit of work. You gotta put a little bit of effort into it because it can be messy. I do recommend to use it with the spoolie brush that it comes with. So I really, really do like it, and I think it does a great job with shaping the brows. That said, there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. It's a little goopy. I had to mix it at first when I first opened the product. Stick the spoolie in, and I mean, get messy with it. Get it in the brow in all directions, and then let it set for like 30 seconds. This is another product where you want to use a makeup wipe around the brow first, because if the product dries on the skin, it will peel the makeup off. It will almost come off like glue. So you want to get all that additional residue off of the skin. So just like the tinted brow gel, do this absolutely first. After about 30 seconds, you'll find that the gel will get a little bit more tacky, and then that's when you're able to go in and fully shape the brow. And then that's how I get this really lovely sculpted brow look. That it's not the strongest hold in the world, but it holds up well enough. I have particularly stubborn eyebrows, so it does fall a little bit here sometimes, but it's, I don't want to say gooey, but you're able to just go in and kind of fluff it up throughout the day, and it readjusts itself very, very nicely. It doesn't get rock hard or anything. It stays a little gummy, so the brows are flexible, which I know a lot of you guys will really like, and it gives a much fuller appearance to the brow. Like, look at this compared to the Thrive, and the Thrive is very good, but look at this. This is crazy. So if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of time with a little bit of learning curve, this is a very cool, very good product. I think it would be really great for mature eyebrows as well, because it just adds that fullness back into the eyebrow. Now, this product's very interesting. I unfortunately don't think the quality is there with this, but it was almost a really cool idea. Well, it is a cool idea, but almost a really cool product from Buxom. These are the Flip Side Shadow and Liner Duo. So these are interesting because it comes with a shadow and then a matching liner of color stories that they coordinated together. Let me show you the colors that they have first. Pretty Penny, Back to Black, Burgundy Bestie, Dolly Days, Totally Taupe, Champagne, and Chocolate. So the one that I put on for today is Pretty Penny. Now I find with the shadow side, I don't like this because it's literally just a sponge, and then the powder is on the inside, so you have to keep going back in. And I don't get fallout with this necessarily, but I feel like this is just not gonna last very long. These work better when you have a base shadow underneath. I find on bare lid it gets really creasy and fades really, really quickly. So I put Natasha Denona eyeshadow on today as the base, and I just use this as the lid color. You can see it's already creasing a little bit, which I'm okay with a little bit of a crease because I have a crease there. But this fades, this creases, and then the liner side, while very easy to apply, smudge, move around, do what you want with, again, just fades throughout the day. So this does not have the longevity. I did not end up loving this product as much as I was hoping to, so I don't recommend this, unfortunately, because they are really beautiful. They had so much potential. Next up, I have the Lash Fixation Mascara from Jane Iredale. These are a tubing mascara. Unfortunately, not my favorite mascara. You know I have particularly weak, boring, horrible, tiny lashes. This just doesn't do it any favors. So I'm somebody who's extremely picky with mascaras, so do keep that in mind. But it doesn't give me the volume, doesn't give me the length, doesn't give me the hold that I want. It's not a terrible mascara. I just have terrible lashes and can only use these top shelf mascaras. It's great that it's a tubing mascara because it will come off with water. It comes off very easily. But just unfortunately, my lashes don't jive with this. Today I actually used the brown mascara, which I rarely do, and it still has a lot of depth to it. So that sums it up for eyes. Let's move on to the lip portion. So I've been loving, absolutely loving, dying over these Revie Beauty Soft Definition Longwear Lip Liners. These are so easy to apply. They do have that softer effect on the lips, but it's just enough. It doesn't matter. It lasts a long time, and the colors are gorgeous. I have fallen in love with every single one of these. I love the lightest shade, Honey, for an everyday natural lip with just a peach gloss over top. Almond is like that perfect contour shade. Fig is like that more bold pinky lip, but still very wearable. And then Mocha, obviously, I actually don't use this one as much because I don't use a dark brown lip liner, but it's really gorgeous. Stunning lip liner formula. stunning shade collection. Ali, you did it with this formula. I have not been able to put these down. These are awesome. And I do like their softer, soft focus finish and edges. It's not too soft because it does add enough definition, but it's still perfect for every day. Now, something I'm not loving, not one bit, for my lips, it's from Makeup Revolution. It's the Lip Shift ink. This is kind of their dupe on this, I can't say, Zashao, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. That viral lip liner where you apply it, it's black, it looks crazy, and then you peel it off. I just don't like lip products like that. I always find it looks messy on me. It doesn't look good. I feel like it looks good on everybody else. I mean, I think this is a very good interpretation of what they're literally copying. You'll see, I just did the demo on the back of my hand. It does last a long time. I just hate the look of these on me. And I find it always looks uneven. And I just like a regular lip liner better. So, not for me. But I think they did a good job for what it was. It did what it's supposed to do. Now, some glosses that I've been using are these really pretty glosses from Chantecaille. I don't know what this shade is. The sticker fell off. The pinky iridescent one, but the golden one I demoed was Gleam. And then Love is this light sheer pink. Now, don't buy all three of these. These are very, very sheer, but these are a beautiful hydrating gloss formulation. But you know, Chantecaille's expensive. You don't need to run out and purchase these, but these are pretty. I think they were like a spring launch, and I've enjoyed them. They're hydrating, but they're just a gloss formula. At the end of the day, I don't think there's anything super special about them that you need to run out and buy them, but I obviously don't have anything bad to say about them either. They're very pretty. They've just kind of been in my drawer. I've reached for them periodically, enjoyed them. They were hydrating, they were glossy, but nothing that knocked my socks off either, so I wouldn't encourage you to spend the money on them, but they're pretty. That's how I normally feel about Chantecaille, except for that gel foundation. That one is worth it. But the glosses, not a must-have from the brand, but they're nice. And then the last product that I have is from the summer collection from Odin's Eye, just their overall lip collection. So they launched not new formulas. You know I love their lip formulas. So in the yellowy and pinky packaging, you're gonna get their gloss formula, which is full pigment and beautiful. I love this one. And then also their matte lip stains, which are that putty kind of formula, clay-like, that you spread on the lips. It's kind of dry, but it's really blurring, and it stains the lips underneath. Beautiful. My only critique with the line overall, I feel like the colors are very, very warm, just not colors I personally would love. There's particular colors in here that I like, but generally speaking, they all kind of pull a little red on my lips, so I didn't love the colors this time around. Right now, though, this kind of warm nude combo is beautiful. For the matte shade, I have Cream Petal down. Just kind of spread that around. And this one is kind of cool. It's not orange at all. Not cool toned, but you see what I mean. You see what I'm putting on my lips. And then Lily Latte for that gloss. So love the formula of these, but this wasn't my favorite colors that they launched. So I hadn't reached for them very often, but you can't go wrong with the formulas. But they have a ton of colors that you can check out on the website. So while this wasn't my favorite collection of colors, still the same beautiful formulas. And I really like the combo that I did today with these. So still encourage you to try this formula. And there we have it. I don't think these reviews were so speedy today. But, but we have a speed reviewed 20 products. Those are my final thoughts. All of these are now getting out of my speed reviews drawer, making more space for more products. These are going into general population. So I'll have all of the products that I linked down below for you guys in the description box to check out if you're interested, as well as tagging them. If you've tried any of these products, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking the talks with the makeups. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys, have a good one. Buckle in, get a snack. Today I am giving you my final reviews on 46 new products at Sephora. I've been testing these products for the past few weeks, in some cases months, multiple ways, multiple wear tests, multiple products, multiple applications, so that I can give you my final thoughts. Because one thing about my channel, what I won't do is mention a product once and you'll never hear it again. If I test it, it gets put in my speed reviews drawer and stays in there until I'm comfortable enough to give you my final review. And all of this as you know, with it being the season that it is the new fall and holiday winter makeup launches that I've been saving up to do this big video for you guys in time for the Sephora sale so that you can narrow down the best products for you if you're interested in picking anything up. So 46 products. We have a lot to get into. Let's start off with our complexion. I actually only have one primer to start us off. This is the new primer from Fenty Beauty. It's the Grip Trip Hydrating Plumping Primer. The packaging of this is just so cool. Not just the packaging, the product itself is so cool. I really like this primer. It is lightly hydrating. I don't notice it being overly sticky, and it's a nice shot of hydration before applying my makeup. That being said, it's not the most game-changing hydrating primer out there in the world. There's a lot of other hydrating primers that I would probably reach for over this. This one is just really light, so if my skincare is good for the day, if my skin feels nice and hydrated for the day, and I'm sitting down and I just need that extra little boost, I would reach for this because it is so lightweight and fresh versus some other hydrating primers which are a bit more heavy duty if my skin is feeling dry. I'm not reaching for this if my skin is dry, but if my skin is in good condition and I want it to stay in good condition for the rest of the day, that's when I would reach for this. This makes my skin feel really nice. I think it's a nice primer. It's not going to be the most hydrating that you've ever experienced, but if you have combo skin, this would be perfect for you. So I like it. They also do have like a mattifying and blurring one. I haven't tried that just because it's not great for my skin type anyways. So this is the one I've been focusing on. I have 3 different foundations that I've been testing. All of these have been very thoroughly tested. For reference, I have dry skin, uneven texture, uneven skin tone. So you already know how I feel about this. This already made its way into my Sephora recommendations. I've worn this a ton because I can't put it down. It's the Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. Get the shade that matches you. What matches me is mixing N2 and P3 to add just a little bit of warmth. This foundation sits so beautiful on the skin, and it wears all day on me. I notice it doesn't look cakey at the end of the day. It doesn't travel into fine lines. It's nice and lightweight, but gives medium coverage on my dry skin. It doesn't emphasize any dryness. This is everything I want in a foundation. It has quickly become a top tier favorite. Definitely in my top 5 favorite foundations, I would say. Everything that I loved about the High Glam Concealer is what this foundation has given me in a foundation form. So I think you'll love it. I don't think there's a skin type that this foundation isn't for. It is viral for a reason, and it is worth the hype. Trust and believe. The next foundation that I have is the reformulated Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I wear the shade 4 Neutral. She's still thick. I will give it to her. It is an improved formula from the last one. It is thinner, but less is more with this foundation because it can easily look a little too heavy and cakey on the skin. It is the definition of a full coverage foundation, so be aware of that. It has a soft matte finish, and it can look like a lot if you put a lot on. There is a time and place for a foundation like this. I'm not reaching for this every day. I think it's a beautiful foundation to be mixed into other foundations when you want more coverage. And I will reach for this if I do specifically want a beat full coverage look, but for the everyday, it can be a little much, and there is a fine line between a good application and then it running cakey, so you have to be careful with this. I do like having it in my collection though, because I like to mix this with other products. So it is improved from the first formulation, but it still can get a little cakey, so I'm warning you. And then the last foundation, it's a skin tint that I have here, is the new Armani Beauty Skin Tint. So this is light as air on this skin. If you hate the feel of wearing makeup, I think you will really enjoy this. It literally is like water in application and does the perfect job just evening everything out. It gives very light coverage, but like I said, it just makes the skin look more evened and more fresh and just put together. This paired with the concealer to kind of compensate for the lack of coverage if you do have an uneven skin tone is perfect. Now this is one of those products where it doesn't look great on me right away because of its really thin nature. I do find that sometimes it can stick to some dry patches, but when I pair it with other products that I enjoy and as my skin warms up throughout the day, I do find that I really, really enjoy this product. So it's not a game-changing skin tint, but I've enjoyed it for just how it feels like absolutely nothing on my skin. Let's call this category the conceal and correct category. I have two different products. First is a tried and true, just regular concealer. This is the new Makeup Forever HD Skin Full Cover Concealer. This is newer in terms of what I'm testing on this table. It's one of the ones that I've tested the least. However, I want to say I've worn this about 5 times now, and I just want to give you an update that I don't love this. I also don't dislike it. I find it performs pretty inconsistently based on other bases that I use. When I wear it with a good foundation, I like the performance of this a lot more. If I'm wearing this with a foundation that looks a little dry on my skin, I find that this also will look dry on my under eyes. It really pairs well with the partner and listens to whatever that partner does, but this gives pretty full coverage, you guys. It is not quite full, but it's like almost on the line there, so you get a lot of coverage with this, but it is a bit thick and I do find it has a tendency to look cakey. I've enjoyed my wear with this when I wear and layer the least amount, so less is more when it comes to this product. That being said, I just think there are better concealers out there. This is not a bad concealer, but I'm not going to put you into the direction of this concealer because there are concealers that behave much better all of the time. So for reference, I use the shade 1N14. It's an okay product. I'll continue to use it, but I'm not recommending it to anybody. This I'm putting as the correct. However, this, I don't even know how you would describe this. It's the Mary Phillips Underpainting Face Palette. So you got a little bit of contour, bronzer, highlight, and color corrector. One thing I will say, the color corrector here does not agree with the Makeup Forever concealer. This is the second time. It's looked really patchy on my under eyes, and I think it's because of this. But this palette overall, I do love the way that it applies and blends out on bare skin, which is the intention of it. But I am not much of an underpainter. It's just not part of my routine. I feel like it's an extra step. When I have used it as directed, it works out beautifully on the skin, but I've actually more so been using it on top of my base. So today I use the contour shade. I love this contour shade for my nose. I love that I can go up and brighten my foundation. I can add bronziness. I can correct, though this corrector acts a little weird on the under eyes, so I don't love it for that. But all in all, I think it's a very versatile cream formulation here. I think she did a good job with this. So if you are a fan of underpainting, I think you will enjoy it. And this is very, very pricey, but you do have the ability to do a lot with this. So I like this. I think it's very, very nice quality. Next up, I have 4 setting powders. We'll start off with the loose ones. The first one that I have is from Fenty Beauty. I feel like this was a really quiet launch from them. It's the Set It Down Super Fine Blurring Setting Powder. This is so much better than the other loose setting powder that they had before. This is very, very, very fine. And sometimes I do find that with such fine setting powders, it can leave a little bit of a film behind. And this one, unfortunately, does leave a little bit of a film, but this is one of the most fine powders I've ever used. It is very, very blurring, almost to the point where I feel like it's too lightweight, where I need something with a little bit more heft. So it's almost too slippery, I guess is the way I would describe it. But it is much better than the original one, and it does blur. But for my preferences, it's a little too fine and slippery. I prefer something with a little bit more grip, which brings us to the next one, the best loose setting powder ever that has every quality that I could want. It's the Huda Beauty Easy Bake setting powder. Now, why this is in this video, it's because it's the new duo. So it has the shade Cherry Blossom Cake and Peach Pie. A little unnecessary. It is limited edition. I think it was just a fun thing that she did because it went viral. It's a nice shade. I can't say I noticed too much of a difference from one shade to the other, but it's a formula that I love, so I've been reaching for it. And if you like the concept, you like the idea, I do think it's fun. Pick it up while it is available, but I'm just as happy with a single color as well. It's still that great formula. I feel like this one has a little bit of a stronger fragrance than they've been doing lately, like kind of like the OG fragrance, which I don't mind a fragrance, but I know some of you do, so I wanted to mention that. And then I have 2 pressed powders. The first one, another quiet launch from Fenty Beauty. We have the Bright Fix Instant Brightening and Blurring Powder. The shade that I've mostly been using is Rose Quartz. This is okay. It does add a little bit of extra color to the skin, so it's nice to brighten with. However, I wouldn't set with this because I do think it's a little bit drying on my dry skin type. I think oily skin would appreciate this formula more. I like it, again, just to add a little extra bit of brightening and color to the skin, but it doesn't do too much in the way of blurring. And because it's a little bit drying on my skin, I don't love it. There are just other powders that I would go for, but it's not a bad powder at all. And like I said, I think oily skin, you will appreciate this a little bit more than I do. And then finally, we have the new One Size Boucle Silk Cellulose Airbrush Powder. Really gorgeous, bridging on Hourglass, I have to say. This gives a little bit more coverage than the Hourglass. You definitely get more color from this, but this is a beautiful, lightweight baked powder that's not flat, that you can put all over the skin. This is more my speed when it comes to a pressed powder. Now, of course, the Fenty is matte. I mean, there is a time and a place for matte, but dry skin, I like a little bit of a glow. I like that this isn't completely flat. This is a gorgeous air light powder that's not flat, and I think it does just make the skin look refreshed and smooth. So this is definitely a hit. I definitely recommend this and picking it up if you are interested for the savings event. Did this not make my recommendations? If it didn't, that was a mistake, because this is a beautiful, beautiful powder. Moving on to bronzers, I have 3. They all happen to be powder. The first one is from Armani. This is the Luminous Silk Bronzer. I have mine in the shade 90. I love this bronzer. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is made in China, which I think is very interesting. Luxury brands don't source from China very often. But that aside, it is a beautiful bronzer. I really, really love this. There are some golden glitters that you'll see even in my swatch. I saw the gold glitters, but I don't notice any of the gold glitters on my face. I think this deposits the perfect amount of pigment. I love that it is ginormous. It blends onto the skin beautifully, and this shade in particular gives a beautiful bronze. Like, I have no complaints about this bronzer. I have been loving it. I think it applies so easily without being splotchy or patchy on the face as well. This is a good luxury bronzer. I've enjoyed it a lot. The other luxury bronzer that I have is from Givenchy, and I have a problem with this color. So this is the Prism Lead Bronzing Powder, and it's that classic Givenchy 4 split pan color, but I find that this makes me look dirty. This little quadrant right here. Now this shade overall, 001, is going to be perfect for my very fair, cool toned girls, because this is very, very light. It is not the best shade on my complexion. It looks a little bit gray, but it's really light and soft to apply. It's beautiful in that way, but I just don't love this color on myself, which is a personal problem. That's why I'm calling out fair, light, cool toned skin. Look into this bronzer. I think you will love it. It's just not for me. I'm reaching for the Armani Beauty more. And then this one was a huge recommendation for me. It has been such a fun discovery. I was like floored when I tried it out, because how unique can a powder bronzer be? But the new Hung Van Gogh Soft Blurring Bronzer in the shade Straightforward, that's just a shade that I use. This really is a soft blurring bronzer. I got a little scared when I saw the color, but I'm telling you, it applies in such a light veil over the skin. You don't need to be scared, and it just smooths and blurs the skin. It is a gorgeous airbrush appearance. It is flat because it has more of a matte finish, but it's not a drying matte texture. Nothing but good notes to say. Like I said, a powder bronzer, you can only go so many ways with describing it, but this one is just special. It just has that special quality that I think makes it worth picking up in a time where you probably already have a lot of other powder bronzers. This one is special. Maybe the rest, you know, I love the Armani and the Givenchy is cool too, but those ones I don't think are special compared to what's already available, even though they're good still. This one I think is actually quite special. Okay, next up we are moving on to blushes. I have 4 different items that I'm talking about. We'll start off with the liquid item, which are the new Too Faced Cloud Crush Wit Lip and Cheek colors, which I haven't heard anybody talk about, but these are kind of K-beauty inspired. They're that wit consistency. They're completely matte on the skin. They feel like a mousse, and they're quite pretty, and they do blur the cheeks. Peach Blur, Super Candy Clouds, Headliner, Milk and Cookies, Bed of Roses, Red Velvet, Love Potion. They're quite similar, I would say. Where is it? This isn't being sold at Sephora. I keep thinking it is. I don't know why it didn't. The Dior Forever Blush Soft Filters, these are very similar to that. The Dior's a little bit more blurring, but these are really, really good. And they're probably like half the price of the Dior, and the shades are really pretty. I don't particularly love these on the lips, which they do advertise they can be put on the lips. But if you like a matte, moussey K-beauty blush that's gonna blur, kind of just melts into the skin really nicely, especially for winter. If you're following the matte skin trend, I think you would really like these. These are kind of underrated. They're a nice product. It's just that glowy cheeks cream cheek products are so popular right now. It's not really as much about the matte that these aren't getting attention, but for what they are, they're very nice, and they're a nice change from the same old that we've been getting. I actually have a lot of powder blushes, which is interesting, but along with Hung Bengo's bronzer, he did also launch a blush. This is the very beautiful Velvet Blush. I have mine in the shade Second Language. I would say this didn't knock my socks off quite as much as the bronzer, but this is still a beautiful blush. Blush, again, is one of those categories where it's like, how different can we get here? I mean, there's nothing I can complain about. It's a nice, easy to use, easy to blend, buildable powder blush formula. It's beautiful when setting a cream blush, but it's also beautiful on its own on bare skin. It easily deposits enough pigment. It's a nice formula if you see a color that you enjoy. Now, a single blush that I've really been enjoying that I do think stands out a bit are the Ilia Soft Focus Blurring Blush. These are a gorgeous formula. Kind of does remind me a little bit of Hourglass. I even went ahead and purchased another shade for the Sephora Savings event, so that should tell you how happy I am with this. So I have this in the shade Glimpse. It has a very nice subtle sheen to it, and it's not a sheen that's going to emphasize texture, so it doesn't look flat on the face, and with its really silky nature, it applies very easily to the cheeks. You can build it up, and it just looks soft and angelic on the cheeks. I think this is a stunning formula that Ilia came out with, and as soon as the Sephora sale started, I knew I had to get another color. This Glimpse shade is going to be gorgeous on fair skin, but it's also very pretty and subtle on my skin tone as well if you're more in the light kind of family, but they have a lot of other beautiful colors. I really love this blush. This one is one that stands out. And I'm putting this last one in the blush category. It's a blush and bronzer duo, but whatever. It's not super new, but it was new to me. I've been playing with the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Powder Blush Duo. I have the shade Suede and Sable, and I used the blush on this cheek. It's just a very pretty mauve-y blush. And then we also have a nice bronzer. Now this is kind of falling in the category of it's a good powder product. It applies beautifully, blends beautifully, have no notes, but it is just a powder product. So maybe it doesn't stand out. This is a purchase where if you really like the colors, you really like Westman Atelier, this is very nice. No complaints about it, but Westman Atelier is expensive. But Westman Atelier is a pretty good brand for this Sephora sale because they are so expensive, so you save a little bit more money. And I do think that this duo is beautiful, but you'll see later in this video, there's so many beautiful cheek palettes out right now that it's like, does that one stand out? Probably not, but it's gorgeous. And then let's talk about highlights. I have two different formulas for you. Highlights have been kind of out. I haven't reviewed a lot of highlighters, but Patrick Ta recently reformulated his Major Glow Cream and Powder Light Reflecting Translucent Highlighter Duos. So I have 3 shades, the lightest shade being My Love. Then we have Baby, which is the pinky shade, and then Daddy, which is a little bronzy, more so for medium complexions, though it doesn't really matter because these have no pigment to them. Pretty much. These are an improvement in the original formulation, which is really goopy and it looked really scaly on my skin, but I still don't like these, honestly. The powder leaves something to be desired. It barely shows up on the skin. The cream is like a Vaseline that stays wet on the cheek. And then the two of them paired together have a tendency to look a little chunky on my face. I just don't like these. I can tell there was an improvement, but it's not my style of highlighter. And you know, I was mentioning this in yesterday's video. 2016 happened. We already got the best of the best highlight formulas. Just go for those. I know they were trying to do something new and different, but it's too different. It's too runway. You know, runway makeup, you don't need longevity. It doesn't really matter how it wears. So if I'm sending a model down the runway, I'll use this Vaseline on the face that will give a gorgeous glow as you're walking down with the lights hitting. However, my hair is gonna stick to it. If I layer the powder, it's gonna look chunky. I just don't recommend it. Another reformulation with the highlighters here, Dior recently reformulated, unfortunately, their Backstage Glow Maximizer palettes. Unfortunate because this is my favorite formula. And it's not bad, but it's not as good as the original. It's different. It's a little bit different. You can watch my full video if you want to see exactly what the differences are, but it is still a really, really beautiful formula. So even though it is sad that it's not as good, it's still a very recommended highlighter from me. I just recommend though sticking with Universal Glow. I think this is the best highlighter and it works on so many different skin tones. I also swatched for you guys. I have Rose Gold Glow, which is a new shade. It is a re-promote, but it is new to the permanent range. And then this is brand new, the Pearly Peach Glow. And some of them have different finishes, like the Pearly Peach Glow is gonna have a glitter finish in here, but this one is great for medium complexions. Really gorgeous highlights. Even though it's not as good as the original, these are still quite stunning, quite glowy, and still one of the best highlighters on the market. So I do recommend this if you're interested. There are multiple shades of highlighters within this one little palette. I don't, however, recommend the Opal Glow one that just launched for the holidays. That one is not as good. I made the mistake of purchasing that for the sale and I regret it. The formula, it doesn't hit quite like these three. I don't know why they did that. Okay, I have 3 different face palettes, multi-purpose face palettes for this next category. We'll talk about these Charlotte Tilbury ones first. You will notice in these sets of speed reviews, not mentioning eyeshadow palettes. That is going to be the video after the speed review. So I'm just going to do a full separate video because we actually got a lot of eyeshadow palettes. But anyways, these do have eyeshadows in them. That's why I'm mentioning that. But these are the new Hollywood Instant Look in a Palette that Charlotte Tilbury launched this year. It had been years since she launched these, so I was super excited. And this Pretty Glowing Beauty actually sold out, which I'm excited about because hopefully that means she'll continue coming out with more because these are so extremely convenient. Every year that these have launched, I always use these for travel. I always reach for them a lot. So this year, we have Pretty Glowing Beauty, which is a little bit lighter, and then we have Dreamy Bronze Beauty. Now, if you're around my skin tone, both can work for me. I think the bronzer, of course, in the lighter palette is a little bit more flattering for me, but these are so stunning. That said, these are not as good as Look in a Palettes in previous years. The ones from previous years ago were better in my opinion, especially with the eyeshadows. I'm not in love with the eyeshadows, but even though these aren't special, we just haven't gotten these palettes in so long, and the concept of them is just so good and useful that I've reached for these a lot. These were a recommendation because I'm getting a hot flash, Jose. One of my new pregnancy symptoms is at least once a day I get a random hot flash. Oh my God. Like, my second trimester has been lovely, but these hot flashes, oh my God. Anyways, the proof is in the pudding. I've been wearing these a lot, so even though I can say from a review perspective, these aren't as good as previous years, it doesn't matter. I'm still using them. I'm getting my money's worth. And what I love about these is they have the Airbrush Flawless Setting Powder, which I think has completely changed these palettes and the versatility in them. It makes it a true complete face palette. You get 3 eyeshadows, a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight color, but you can do whatever you want with these. You can put the bronzer in the crease, you can put this all over the eye. that is what is so great about these, is the versatility, which actually makes you able to get more different looks as well. Same thing here. You have a beautiful finishing powder. The blushes here are a little bit deeper, particularly this one, so it's not a highlight on me, but this is pretty as a blush topper, or I used it for an eye look as well. Use this for liner, so you can do a lot of different things with these. So if the colors appeal to you, highly recommend these. These are great. I can't put them down. They're just so functional. Now, NARS does have a lot more to offer in the way of their holiday collection, but most of that's going to be available on the NARS website. What came to Sephora from their holiday collection is the new Realm Ethereal Aura Blush Palette, which happens to be probably the best item in the holiday collection. I wasn't expecting that. I used to buy these blush/holiday palettes from NARS every single year, and then they became more and more repetitive and disappointing. This is one of my favorites in a while. I think it's a gorgeous palette, and I think it's better than the other one that's available on the NARS website. You get these 3 really beautiful creamy shimmer. You can either use them as blushes, blush toppers, or highlighters depending on your skin tone, and then 3 flat/satin blushes on the bottom. I know Dolce Vita is a shade that exists, but this I believe is like 50-50. Half of these are new, or 4 of them are new, and then 2 of them are existing shades in the permanent line. I don't even care. I think this is a gorgeous palette. Particularly if you have medium or deep complexion, you're going to love this, but this works on my skin tone as well. And I just love how creamy this top row is, and how these 2 colors vertically can be paired together. It's very different than the other palette that they have in this collection, how they did it and laid it out and what they have in here. But I think that this one is the standout, and if the colors appeal to you, I do recommend it. And let's not forget the gorgeous packaging. Can I go a video without talking about these? No, but I haven't put these in a speed reviews yet. You know I love them. These are the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Palettes. Not going to talk too much about these. You know, these are my favorite powder formulations. They are a formula that cannot be duped, unfortunately, because they are very, very pricey. But these are a treat yourself kind of palette that I do recommend to purchase one if you are interested. I'm never going to tell you to spend this kind of money for no reason, but if you're interested, it is a beautiful palette, and I don't think you'll regret it. It has that hourglass filter that no other brands can recreate on this skin, and their finishing powders give the most beautiful glowy blur to the skin. You have bronzers, highlights, blushes. So for this year, the Dior I recommend for light skin tones, medium skin tones. You can check into the Swan palette. I think this one is my favorite this year, and then deeper complexions, medium to deep, I would say. We have the Fox palette this year, and Sephora also has the Horse palette. Phenomenal. The best of the best. My favorite holiday launch. #1 most recommended to pick up during the sale or on the Hourglass website. Not sure if the code is still going on, but HGNow20 gave you 20% off of those, which is clutch. Those are amazing. The best product for face, for powder, ever. But I've said that a billion times before, so let's keep moving. We're going to finish off with the last 4 setting sprays. Now, these are not new. They came out this summer. So these have been in my speed reviews drawer for a while. Don't know how that happened. I've had my final thoughts on these for a while, but I thought I'd throw them in here anyways. We have the new, not new anymore, but we have the reformulation of the Urban Decay setting sprays. Honestly, the original all-nighter, I don't really notice too much of a difference comparing this to the old partnership with Skindinavia, but a lot of people have said they have noticed a difference. I just have dry skin, so I don't struggle as much with longevity, where you might be able to tell more if you have more oily skin. I haven't noticed a difference. Seems the same to me. But it's supposed to not be as good. There is a change in formula. What I've been using more is the all-nighter glow finish setting spray, because I normally need a shot of hydration this time of year, and this is fine. It doesn't give as much hydration or glow as a lot of other setting sprays. This is kind of a mid-setting spray, if you ask me. I really wouldn't recommend it. I've just been using it because it's been in front of me, but what seems to be the new trend right now are blurring / mattifying setting sprays. The first one being my favorite one, the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm Mattifying Setting Spray. Listen to me. If you have dry skin and you don't like powder, you have to try this. This is such a unique product. This is almost like powder in a setting spray, but not like one that's gonna mess up your makeup or make you look powdery. It almost just delivers some particles of powder to like soak up the excess oil on the skin without drying you out. So if you like to do your makeup and not set or use as minimal powders as possible, this is going to do that for you without having to use actual powder. It is incredible on my dry skin. Now, if you're more on the oily side and want something a little bit more heavy duty, then I would point you instead to the new Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray Matte Blur Mattify Smooth and Blend and Set Setting Spray. Charlotte Tilbury has other setting sprays that I prefer for myself as someone who has dry skin, but this is a very heavy duty, very mattifying setting spray. So my oiliest of oily girls, I think you will really, really enjoy this one. But for me, it sucks a little too much of the life out of me. It gets rid of all the hydration I worked so hard for with my skincare, my drinking, my primers. This takes that all away from me. It makes me look thirsty. So if you have dry skin, I don't really recommend this for you. You definitely want to try out the Danessa Myricks. This is incredibly unique. They do sell a mini version at Sephora if you don't want to take the plunge on a full size. It's like setting powder in a bottle. And if you are super oily and need to be mattified, I think you will enjoy this one. And that's going to close this out for Complexion. Those were 26 products. Fear not, this is a 46 product speed review. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel because tomorrow we're going to be speed reviewing the new eyes and lip products that Sephora has to offer. So I will be back with that. This saves you some time, gives you a break, gives my editor a break, gives me a break because I gotta catch my breath. I am breathless right now, but the complexion stuff is always fun. Always have a good time with that. So those are my final thoughts on these new complexion products from Sephora that I have been thoroughly testing for you guys, putting a little bow up on it. Those are my final thoughts, and I hope you found it helpful. I will have all of the colors that I used and everything that I talked about linked down below for you, as well as tagged in YouTube shopping. If you were a little overwhelmed with what to pick up for the Sephora sale, hopefully this helped narrow down some things for you or cut some things off your list, of course. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow for part 2, where we will finish off the rest of these reviews because we still have a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of new products that I need to give you the tea about. So see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one. Reviewing 46 of the newest products at Sephora. Part 2. So if you missed it yesterday, I uploaded part 1. I am speed reviewing 46 products that I have been testing with multiple wear tests, multiple products, multiple ways. I've been thoroughly testing them, and I'm ready to give you my final review on them just in time and just ahead of the end of the Sephora sale. So yesterday's video covers all of the new complexion that I've been testing. Today's videos, we're working on the eyes and the lips, finishing that up. Now, you'll notice eyeshadow palettes are missing. That is because tomorrow's video, I am going to be going over all of the new eyeshadow palettes at Sephora with you. But first and foremost, let's talk about these eyes and lips products so that I can help you narrow down your Sephora wish list to tell you what's actually worth it or not. Because one thing about me is I'm always going to come back and give you a follow-up on a product that I talk about on my channel. So like, we're gonna have 46 follow-ups today. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna start off with these babies, which I've been talking about a lot. These made it into my Sephora recommendations. These are the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes Longwear Cream Eyeshadows. I have all of the shades, so I'm gonna show you the swatches real quick. Bisque, Sandstone, Mauve, Blush, Chestnut, Taupe, Sienna, Espresso, Slate, and Black. These are a liquid eyeshadow that perform as easily as a cream shadow. They're very lightweight. They're very flattering on mature eyelids. They don't feel heavy. They don't get creasy. It's truly amazing. It almost smooths out the eyelid as well. I think these are beautiful bases for individual eyeshadows or on their own. I mean, these make a matte eye look so blurred and so beautiful. You know I'm about the shimmery glimmeries, especially this time of year. But whenever I use these, I love a good matte look. They're like soft blur and they wear so well. Like I need them in a foundation. That's how good these look on my eyelids. I could use this blurring lightweight power in a foundation as well. But anyways, these are phenomenal. Highly recommend them. Everything that I wanted and more. If you're intimidated by a cream shadow, don't be by these. They are so easy to use, just like a powder eyeshadow. Honestly, just dot it on your eyelid. That's what I did. I think I used the shade Taupe today and blend it out and you got it. And then I used the shade Espresso just to deepen my lash line a little bit. That's that. Those are amazing. Patrick Ta also launched 4 new shades of his Major Dimension Eye Illusion eyeshadow duos. These also managed to make their way into my recommendations, which is interesting that that happened because I did not recommend the ones from last year. But this year's shades, he stepped it up. So from lightest to darkest in the shades, we have In Your Dreams. This one I recommend the least because I think these two kind of look similar to one another. Then we have When the Sun Hits, which is a little bit warmer. Then we have Always on Your Mind, which I demoed a couple videos ago all over my eyelid. And then Slow Burn. So I love these new shades in particular because they are more glittery than the ones that launched last year. And these are an expensive product. And I just felt like they weren't that different from any normal shimmer or glimmer eyeshadow that you can get in other palettes. These actually have that special quality to them that make the value much more worth it. And these you should use with a glitter glue, but you don't have to. They work fine on me without a glitter glue. I just pop my finger in and then put it on my eyelid, and then I have an instant, easy, glittery eye look. So the shades that he launched this year are incredible. Fenty Beauty also launched a Diamond Balm collection a few weeks ago, a couple months ago probably at this point. So they launched Shadow Sticks Diamonds, which the Shadow Sticks were okay, but these new diamond ones are a little bit more special because they're diamondy, they're glittery. So the one that I'm actually wearing on my eyelid right now that I demoed is Champion. Or Champion, I don't know, but it's really, really pretty. I think that this formula works really well in this glimmer finish. I think this is stunning. I haven't had any fallout or anything like that. I just drew it on. It's not creasing. The only thing is with this glitter formula in particular, with the lighter shades, like the light one and the lilac one, I don't think it's very flattering on a mature eyelid because it can make the eyelid look a little wrinkly. You know? So you know if you're not the clientele for that. It's very beautiful. It wears beautifully, but the way it sits on the eyelid isn't exactly the most flattering, and sometimes that happens with the glitter finish, but wanted to have you keep that in mind. But overall, these are pretty good, and I'm pretty picky with shadow sticks, but the like ultimate shadow stick that I've been loving are from Danessa Myricks. These are the Color Fix sticks. Ever since I purchased this, I cannot put it down, so much so that I picked up a new shade for the Sephora sale myself. And so what cool packaging. First of all, you can mix and match shades if you buy some different ones. So one side's going to be a metallic finish. The only con to the metallic is I do find it a little bit difficult to blend, particularly with this duo that I have 4. The metallic shade is kind of dark, and so it sticks a little bit, and it's hard to blend, and I want to be able to blend this out a little bit easier, but the foiled shade is incredible. It's like a press-on glitter. You don't get any fallout, and it has more oomph than even the Fenty Beauty. These are stunning, and what's amazing about this formula is they have this cooling sensation on the eyelid. They literally almost feel wet to apply. So easy to use, particularly the foiled shade. These are incredible. If you like a shadow stick, you like metallics, you like foils, you like glitters, you have to try this. I don't have any fallout with this. Incredible product. I've tried a lot of eyeliner pencils recently. Very, very good. I mean, these labs have got these pencil liners figured out. So this is from probably this summer. So this is a little bit of an older review, but it's not an everyday color for me. So it stayed in my speed reviews drawer longer than I thought. But it's the Natasha Denona Macrotech Eye Crayon in the shade Taupe. So this launched with that grungy palette. But you know what? I've been surprised, even though I don't use this like every day, there are some surprising looks that this was very, very flattering. So now I am into a taupe liner. This is actually the liner that I have on. It's incredible for neutral, cool toned looks. This is a very easy to use pencil liner and it stays a very, very long time as well. It has a pretty smooth glide on the eyelid. It can be smudged out just a little bit. Everything I like about a pencil liner, this one has had the qualities. So Natasha Denona has a very good eyeliner pencil, but also so does Makeup by Mario, who expanded his color range in recent months. So the shades that he has, he also brought out a taupe. Then I used the shade today, Bronze. This is stunning. This bronze shade I did not expect to get so much use out of. This is the most stunning waterline color because it's got that little shimmer in there. It's not harsh like a matte color, but it does add that definition. That said, it's not the longest lasting in the waterline, but it gets the job done. Like, it's not bad. But these on the upper lash line, they're not gonna budge. He also launched a plum shade and a midnight blue shade, which has been fun with some of the holiday looks. These are also a very, very good liner, and they last, like I said, not the longest in the waterline, but pretty good everywhere else. And again, they set down. They have a little bit of a creamy application, but you can also have some time to smudge them down, and I enjoy the color ranges. So these are very similar formulas, honestly. That's why my description is very similar. And then with Hung Van Gogh's beauty line launching, he launched 2 different eyeliner formulas. The first one that we have is the Longwear eyeliner pencil. So this one is going to set down. It's going to start off with a creamy application, and then it's going to set and not budge. And if you are looking for the most budge-proof, waterproof eyeliner on the market, you found it. The only con to this is you can't really smudge it out. It, like, once it hits the skin, it sticks. But this lasts in the waterline like no other. I actually should order the brown shade since I love a brown in my waterline, because this will last. So if you have watery eyes, look into this pencil, as well as the shade along the lash line is very, 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 very black as well. So if you're looking for something budge proof, this is fantastic, but it is hard to move around, which is why he formulated and launched the Soft Velvet Kohl eyeliner. So this is a kohl eyeliner. It's never going to set down. The intention of this is to create shape and to smudge with this. So this is not going to last in the waterline quite like the other pencil. I don't use kohl liners very often, so I'll be honest, I haven't gotten much use out of this because it's just not one that I will reach for a lot. I also have this in the shade Taupe. You can do some cool eyeshadow shapes with this as well. Just not a product that I use a lot, but it is like a nice, easy to use kohl liner. To finish off the eyes, like I said, eyeshadow palettes coming tomorrow, but I do have one semi-new mascara that Milk Makeup launched. This is their Kush mascara. It has a different name, but it's oddly enough not on the packaging, but you'll see it on the side. This is a decent mascara. You know, I just don't have a lot to work with when it comes to lashes, but I do like the way that this makes my lashes look, and it holds a curl decently well, and we have no flaking. So for someone with bare minimum lashes, this meets adequate performance, and it dries quick enough. You can see it gives some nice separation, a little bit of definition to the lashes. It's a nice mascara. Is it a mascara I'm going to repurchase when I am done, though? No. So that should, I mean, I think that's the answer, right? But would I repurchase it? I wouldn't, but I'm enjoying my time using it. That said, not much is helping these little things. You know, I just gotta go to the fake stuff to get the look that I'm desiring. But for a no lash day with just this mascara, I would say it's looking pretty nice. Okay, let me take a sip of my water. Let's move on to the lips category. I mean, in 2025, there was so much lips that launched, and honestly, they all were starting to be the same to me. They were the same launches, very little differences in the formula. It became the most underwhelming category to me, which I wasn't ever expecting, but this selection today is a little bit smaller. I don't know if it's because I just became so uninterested and stopped trying lip products, or have brands slowed down. I don't think so. I think it's the first thing. I became uninterested. But let me show you what I've been using. So this first one is the fall color from Laneige, who has since launched more flavors. But this one is pumpkin pie. I want a piece of pumpkin pie. I don't think I mentioned this on my YouTube channel, you guys. I got gestational diabetes. So I'm like, it's a tragic story for a foodie like me. I want a pumpkin roll. I want some pumpkin pie. Oh, this touched me in places. That made me very sad. But anyways, you know how I feel about the Laneige lip masks. These aren't the most hydrating lip mask on the market, but I like them and I like the flavors that they come out with. And this has a very, very subtle pumpkin-y scent. It's not overwhelming by any means if it's not your jam. But I've enjoyed using this just to get in the fall spirit, even though at this point, it's freaking November, WTF. But yeah, it's a fun seasonal flavor of not the best lip mask formula in the world. But I like it. Let's move on to lip liners and lipsticks. I got to experience Westman Atelier's lip line. So these aren't new, but they are new to me. And surprisingly, one thing I really enjoyed was their lip shape lip liners. Now, these are not a lip liner that's set down, so you can smudge them a little bit. They might need to be reapplied. They kind of leave a whisper of shadow behind as they fade, but their shades, at least the shades that I have, are gorgeous. The shade Biscuit that I'm wearing is just the perfect everyday color. However, it is not one that sets down, so it's not the longest lasting, but just for everyday, something you can feel very comfortable to reapply. I love this. I also have the shade Mink, which is a little deeper if I just want a little bit more oomph, especially with the holidays. I might want some more oomph in my lips. When am I gonna debut my red lip? I'm gonna have to do that soon. I'm surprised I haven't worn a red lip yet with all this holiday stuff. But anyways, really like these liners, but just know they're ones that don't set down. I also experienced my first Westman Atelier lipstick, very luxe, you guys. So this is the Lip Suede matte lipstick. I'm not in, but I picked up the shade Jouer. I didn't pick it up. I got this in PR, just so you know. This is a really beautiful kind of mauve-y rosy shade. A very nice lipstick, you guys. It's a soft matte finish, not too drying, decent wear time considering it is still a cream lipstick. It's not like super long lasting. Very smooth to apply, doesn't dry out the lips. I have nothing bad to say about this. I mean, Westman Atelier is a pricey brand. They have a great lipstick set. If you want to try out the formula and save a little bit of money, it's a luxe lipstick. So you're paying for the name, you're paying for the packaging, but it is beautiful. Another lip line that I got to experience was Hung Van Gogh's lip line. I don't have too much. I only have one lip liner, and I've got to be honest, I don't really love the shade that I have. This is like Van Gogh Red. So it's the shade of the packaging, but just for me, it is way too orange. Even when I'm wearing like this color of red orange lipstick, I want like a brown background, not such a vibrant lip pencil. I think the lip pencil is fine. I don't have anything like any strong feelings either way. I think it's a nice lip pencil. It does set down, unlike the other ones I'm going to mention today, but it's just not a color that I'm reaching for. I just don't find it flattering on my complexion, because I do also have the Van Gogh Red in the lipstick, and the lipstick formula is really nice, but again, this shade, it doesn't do it for me. But I do have this gorgeous shade from his range. Not one that I would have ever thought I would have loved, but this is so beautiful for the holidays. It's a gorgeous berry color. Award winner. I've been surprised by how much I enjoy this. This is a nice creamy formulation. Again, I don't have too strong of a feeling about these. I think they're nice. And that's really all I can say. It's a cream lipstick, and I think it's a nice lipstick at that, but that's all I can say. I like that shade. Award winner though, and they're a good formula, creamy. And then the last lip liner that I have, I didn't pick up any of her lipsticks. So I only have this lip liner and then the one that I decided to pick up for the Sephora savings event in the deeper shade. But the first shade that I ended up with is Skinny Dip, which is slightly warmer than I wanted. But this one is meant to be a little bit softer on the lips, so it's not supposed to give like a super defined line. And it also doesn't set down because you can smudge with it, kind of that Mary Phillips style. style, but it's really pretty. This is kind of what I thought more of what the Rhode lip shape contours were going to be like formula-wise. Obviously, this is skinny, but this was a formula that I more so had in mind. And I like this formula, but it does fade. It does kind of soften and blend out. And I just like kind of like an in-between, I would say, when it comes to lip liner. I don't need it to be budge-proof. I do like a little bit of flexibility, but I do want it to have a little bit more longevity. This, all things considered, does not have bad longevity at all, considering its creamy nature and the fact that it doesn't set down, but that was just me speaking out loud. Anyways, this is very nice. It doesn't set down. The shades in the range I really like because they're meant to be that contoury background kind of style. So if you like those nudie taupey looks, you will like these, and I liked it enough to pick up a new shade. I have more colors of these. I don't know where they're at, but the reason I don't know where they're at is because I use them so much. These are from Kulfi. These are their Lassie Lips Staining Lip Oil, and what is the most unique thing about these are the colors. This one in particular that I have is Guava. It's a little bit on the brighter side, but they have some neutral tones that still stain the lips underneath. So they will leave that pretty gloss, and then behind, when the gloss fades, you do have the lip stain. And they have some lip stain colors that aren't super vibrant, which I love, because I feel like lip stains all kind of look the same on me, and they're just a little bit more vibrant than I normally would prefer. But take it from me, I'm sorry I don't have the demo, but the Kulfi line does have a little bit more neutral ones, which makes it so unique. So I love those. And then I also have been messing with these guys from Kulfi. These are very nice too. They create good quality products. These are the Lip Snack Glossing Lip Balms. Now, I'm sick of this style of lip product, I will say. There is so many of these. Every brand and their mama has a version of these. The Kulfi version is nice. When it comes to these formulas, they're all kind of blending into one another. This is a nice one. It's hydrating. I think it leans a little bit more towards gloss in terms of like some other ones are like thicker and stickier. These are not, and these colors are very pretty. They actually are different from one another. They aren't all clear like some brands. So I like these. I think they did a good job. Did I need them? No. Seriously. Every brand has them. It's too much, and it's too much of the same, but it's a good formula. And then Glow Recipe also extended their range. Now, what I do like about my mom's calling me, hold on. Now, the thing I do really like about these Glow Recipe ones is actually just like the Kulfi, but even more so, the colors actually matter. They aren't all clear. Now, these Glow Recipe ones, excuse me, they're, I'm gonna say, a little more glassy. If I had to compare them to some other ones, they have a little bit more thickness as well. They do look quite wet on the lips, but they do have a little bit of grittiness in the consistency as well that you might not like. I'm not really bothered by that. But the new shades that they have are Coconut Bingsu and then Dragon Fruit Bingsu. Both of these very gorgeous colors, and again, actually have that impact on the lips. But like, you can close your eyes and pick one of from any brand, and they do the same thing. So but I do like both of those brands. Then Fenty, from their Diamond Balm collection, they also launched the Gloss Bomb Sticks in How Many Carats. So this formula, I enjoy it because it's actually glittery. I will say the glitter for me was taken a little bit far in this particular shade, but they did what they set out to do. If you want pure white glitter on your lips, this is for you. This color is not for me. It is a formula that I like, and I like this formula and the shimmer sticks that they have because they are actually glittery, but this is pretty unwearable for me. So, like this formula, but this shade in particular didn't do it for me, but it did what it was supposed to do. And then the last product that I have in today's 46 product speed review are the Lawless Forget the Filler glosses that they did in collaboration with Love Shack Fancy. Like, two of my favorite things, you guys. I love Love Shack Fancy. I'm inspired by Love Shack Fancy. I have a Love Shack Fancy Stanley collab. I love the Pottery Barn Love Shack Fancy collab. It inspired my beauty room. And this is my favorite lip gloss formulation ever. But these shades are very icy. Like, these are not the most flattering shades. These shades are cute with a certain look, but I don't do that look very often, so I haven't reached for these very much. I was really excited about these, and the packaging is so cute. But They're very 2000s icy pink, and it just ended up not being colors that I wear, except for like the occasional look where they are cute, but still love the formula. Favorite lip gloss formula still, and still love Chef Fancy. It changes nothing. The colors weren't very cute on me for the most part, but there we have it, you guys. Those are 46 speed reviews of the newest products that I've been testing at Sephora, and I finally can like put a little bow on it, as I always say, and put these products back in my general population because they have been reviewed. I've given you my final thoughts, and that's that. So I will have all of the products that I mentioned linked down below, as well as tagged in YouTube shopping. Make sure if you missed yesterday's video, you check out the complexion version of this as well. That was part 1. Thanks for hanging out with me, and stay tuned for maybe tomorrow or the day after. It depends how long it takes to edit. But I will be covering all of the new eyeshadow palettes as well, which makes me so happy. The eyeshadow palettes are back. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thanks for hanging with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one. Back at it again with my favorite series on my channel. We have a new speed reviews where I am finally going over 23 products that I have been testing wearing in multiple ways, with multiple wears, pairing with multiple products and multiple ways of application. And I am here to give you my final review on these products. Meaning, when you watch my channel, if you see me mention a product, you will hear about it again. I'm not a one-hit wonder. We're going to talk about the products that I test on my channel, and I'm going to continue testing them, and I'm going to wrap up my final thoughts in a nice little bow called a speed reviews video. So welcome, you found the right place. I have 23 products that I am ready to give you my final opinion on, and to get these products in the general population of my collection now that I am done reviewing them. We have a lot of drugstore products. I have been testing a lot of affordable products lately, and they have been blowing me out of the water. Is that correct? Anyways, we do have some other expensive items here, of course, but let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start off with Complexion, the first part of this video. So I have 2 primers from Hard Candy. Now, Hard Candy did come out with a lot more primers than just 2. These were the 2 that I decided to hold on to. So the first one is a game-changing one, you guys. It is a filter for the face. This is the Smooth On Lock Primer. So what this does is it blurs and smooths the skin, and it truly, I feel like, looks like a filter over the skin. It blurs over the fine lines, and I feel like this is a gorgeous primer to actually just wear on its own. That is how beautiful and soft it sits on the skin. It does leave a smoother canvas for makeup to go over top, but I feel as though it does lose some of those blurring capabilities once you just start piling product over top of it. But this is a product where if you wear minimal makeup, this will make your skin look better. I highly recommend this for mature skin because it really did blur over the fine lines on the face. I've never used a product that really smoothed the face quite like this. So even though it's a primer, I think it's a beautiful product to just wear for every day if you want a blur on the face. This is gorgeous, and not a lot of products have pilled up with this like I thought that they would. So all around, an incredible primer. Really one of my highest recommended, I would say, in today's video. They did also launch the Glow on Lock Primer. Now this one gives a really pretty glow. It's very hydrating. There is a little bit of a somewhat metallic finish in here, which can emphasize some texture that you might not like, but once you apply product over top, it's fine. It doesn't feel too heavy, but it does do enough of hydration. The drawback on this for me is that it smells like pennies. I don't know why, and I don't like that scent. If that sounds like something you would be put off by, don't even try it with this, which is a shame because it is a beautiful hydrating primer. Hard Candy does a great job with their hydrating primers, but the smell I can't really get over. These honestly have been in my speed reviews drawer for a while because I don't love products like these, But I've been testing them more to get them out of the drawer and give you my thoughts. So we have the Summer Fridays bronzing drops. Now this is actually a bronzing drop that I can get behind. Do keep in mind I'm not a regular bronzing drop user. I actually like to use bronzing drops with tinted moisturizers as a bronzer. So I'll put this down first, almost in an underpainting style, and then that way I can go a little bit lighter with my tinted moisturizer over top and it will still kind of show through. And I like this one because it's not too metallic. It doesn't show the fine lines of the face, and it feels more lotiony than a lot of other drops that I've tried. So it is a nice quality bronzing drop, but it's not a product that's going to be put into my regular rotation. And I thought I was going to like this one a lot more. These are the illuminating drops from Summer Fridays because they're a gorgeous consistency. Just like the bronzing drops, they have a beautiful creamy texture, which is very hydrating on the skin. And this doesn't have any like metallic glitters or anything like that that emphasizes anything on the face. It actually leaves a really pretty glow, but it is too subtle to really have any impact on the face unless I am wearing this quite literally on its own. It doesn't show up on top of makeup. It definitely doesn't show up with makeup over top of it. It only looks pretty on bare skin. But I will say, on bare skin, it is gorgeous. It's just so light that if you're wearing makeup, there's no point in it. It's just an extra step. It's just an extra layer. I also have been testing out the Jones Road Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer, and for it being Jones Road, I thought it was going to have less coverage than it did. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a light coverage, but it definitely evens everything out. I think this is a pretty decent tinted moisturizer. I've enjoyed my time with it. Sometimes it can look a bit heavy, but overall I enjoy the way that it looks on my skin. It can be a little fussy with certain primers. It did not agree today with the Hard Candy Glow Unlock primer, so make sure if you're using this you know what works well with it. But overall, decent wear time. Can look and feel a bit heavy if you over apply it, but of course the more you apply the more coverage you get, so you kind of have to weigh your options here. Is it like an all-time favorite tinted moisturizer of mine? No, but have I enjoyed my time using it? Does my skin enjoy it? Yes, so it's kind of a middle of the road product. It's just one of those times where it is hard to create a bad product. Jones Road did a great job with this, but I'm not reaching for this over some of my favorites. So it's not like a game changer, a must-have in my collection. This is probably the worst product in today's video. I do not recommend this from Catrice. It's the Under Eye Brightener Liquid. This is so patchy and liquidy. It separates on the under eyes and it makes any concealer I put over top of it look like crap. Not only does it separate on my under eyes when I apply it, but it just kind of disappears. It offers no coverage at all other than emphasizing like stuff that's not even there. It ages me like crazy and then makes the concealer look even worse because the concealer doesn't adhere to the skin. So this is absolutely disgusting and terrible. Next up, I only have one like cream contour. This is from Morphe. This is the Shapelifter Micro Contour Stick. I think that this is a lovely product. This is in the shade Refined. I really like this with a brush right down the center of my nose and then underneath the lips. So I like it for smaller areas. I do think it's a bit tedious to have to use it for the outskirts of the face. It's just not meant for that. I need a chubbier stick. But for more small areas on the face, even along the eye contour as well, I think this is beautiful. I mean, it blends out like a dream. This got a lot of hype and for good reason. I think they did a kick butt job for this. I cannot believe what you get for this price point here. This could be sold at Sephora easily, but it's not. It's literally Morphe. This is incredible. I think the biggest category today is powders. There's a lot of powders. I have 4 today, and you guys, matte skin is in. I am telling you, they are putting out all the products for matte skin. So the first one that I have is from Wonder Skin. This is the FYP Filter Powder. Now, typically, I do prefer a loose powder when it comes to setting the face, but sometimes you don't want to deal, and this is a powder that I will reach for when I don't want to deal. I don't think it's as smoothing or as blurring as some of my favorite loose powders, but for a pressed powder, it really does have impressive performance, and it really does soak up the oils. I actually think this could be a very nice powder, especially if you have oily skin. It works for my dry skin, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it just has such great absorption for oily skin as well, and it does kind of smooth the face out. Like I said, it's not like a loose powder kind of blur, but it always makes my makeup look extra refreshed and extra snatched. It's not a lightweight powder. It's not going to give that weightless natural skin finish. This is like for more full coverage, full matte looks, but it is gorgeous. Dibs also launched their Love Beam setting powder. Now this one is interesting because there is two sides. So the lighter side is for brightening, and then the deeper side here is going to be more so to blur. So I'll use the blur down first, and then I'll use the brightening just where I need it for actual color. Again, a decent powder. Still just more of a loose powder fan. I do find, especially with the brighten, it can make the under eyes look dry, which is why I tend to gravitate towards loose powders. It's just the nature of pressed powders. But I really enjoy the concept of this, and I think it does a decent job. It's one of those things where, is it the most blurring? Is it the most brightening powder ever? No. But I think they did a good job with this formulation. I have enjoyed using it. This one, I can't quite figure out. I can't quite love it like I want to, given the price point of which I spent on it. This is the Dior Forever Nude Radiant Filter, and I got it in the luminescent shade. That's important because this formula is the only one that's supposed to have a luminous finish. This is what I would call kind of like a nothing powder, which is great if you have dry skin and you just want to set a little bit for some longevity, but you don't want to interfere with the base and the finish, because this gives pretty much nothing. It feels like nothing, but it is setting the makeup. So like I said, you want your base to look the same, but you do need just a little bit of powder to set for longevity. This is what I would go for. That being said, because of what it does, it being so subtle, it's like, I don't know if it's worth the money. I don't know that I can recommend it to you. It does say it has that luminous finish. I don't really see that on the skin. It's definitely not flat. It's definitely not drying. But I apply it and I'm like, did I even apply it? I wouldn't go back and repurchase it personally, but there is a use for it. A powder that is also very similar, but I think I like this a little bit more because I think it lays down into the skin more. This is from the NARS Holiday Collection. I've already speed reviewed a few other products from the collection, but I do have a few leftovers here. Like, we have this light reflecting prismatic powder. So this is not a new formula. However, this is a new shade, though I can't really see how that would matter because this doesn't give much color. But for the Holiday Collection, this is the shade Moonlight. Very similar to the Dior, but just picks up a little bit more powder. And I do really like this for that same purpose that I mentioned with the first Dior powder, where great for dry skin if you want to set your makeup, but you want to keep the integrity of the original products that you have on your face. This, I can actually tell it does something though. So I actually think that this is the better version. It's definitely not flat. It adds like the lightest bit of not shine, but glow while also setting, and a little bit of brightening. So I do like it. It's very, very slippery in a good way, in that it's super fine on the skin. Now, how you would define this product, I am unsure. You kind of can use them however you want. They remind me of the Hourglass Ambient Finishing Powders, which is a big statement for me because you know I say those powders are undupable. However, these are like a little bit more intense for sure. So they give more on the face. For example, if you use the lightest shade right here, this could be a very, very subtle highlight on me, and it does leave this brightening glow behind, and it has a little bit more glow behind than what you're going to get with the Hourglass, but you can use it in a similar way. So I like this for a very, very natural highlight, but then I like to go a little bit deeper with the shade Sunrise with a big fluffy brush and put it all over my skin, just as I would with the Ambient Lighting Finishing Powder. And when you're using a less dense brush, it doesn't leave so much shine. It's actually really gorgeous, like a glowy filter for the skin. I also will use the shade Sunset or the shade Golden Hour as bronzers on my complexion because they're just so soft. But that really pretty subtle glow, no glitters or anything like that attached to these. They can be used however you want. This is one of my favorite products that I've tried from the drugstore all year. I don't even know if Morphe really counts as drugstore, and their prices have truly gone up, but what a phenomenal powder that could be sold at Neiman Marcus. That's how good the quality of these are, like luxurious. Speaking of luxurious, this was in my drawer for a while. I kept forgetting about it, but I do like these for what they are. These are the Dior Forever Blush Soft Filters. I'm deciding how I feel about blushes like this. This is unique because it is a completely matte, like cloud-like K-Beauty blush. You can see its moussey texture just by looking at the product, and it looks like it would be stiff and hard to blend even when you just place a dot on your cheek, but it actually is not difficult to blend out at all, and it just kind of mushes and morphs into whatever base you have, and it's super duper blurring, but it's also super duper matte. But it really does filter itself on the cheek for that soft plush matte K-Beauty kind of finish, and it's a gorgeous product if you like the finish of this. I think the performance of this is incredible. It just might not be a product or a finish for everybody, especially if you are still loving a glowy blush, but very good quality. Then we have these guys from Morphe. I told you we had a lot of drugstore today. These made their rounds on the internet because they were very, very popular. These are the Cheek Thrills Multi-Finish Face Trio. Now, how this collection works is there's two cream products, one balmy product, and then it's a blush. One balmy blush, and then a more glowy cream blush, and then a powder blush. I thought I would hate the balmy finish, but the balm is actually my favorite formula. I don't love the glowy product as much as I thought I would, and the powder is fine, but I think this is a great product. There's lots of different shades. After Party, Sunset Swim, Beach Bonfire, Blind Date, Après Ski, Wine and Dine, Cabana Club. Very beautiful. If you love different finishes of a blush and you like to layer a similar blush color with different finishes and formats, I think you would really, really enjoy these, especially with the offerings of the shades that they have. And I think the formula is decent. I wouldn't say it's like a game-changing, super high quality formula, but it's good enough. Everything works just fine. No issues there with quality. Finishing up the last couple of products that I've been testing from NARS from their holiday collection, we have the Ethereal Aura Blush Palette in Lightspeed. This is the lighter blush palette that was only available on the NARS website. They did have a palette that I recommend more at Sephora. It's the deeper one. But this one is a little bit more well-rounded in that it has a bronzer, a highlight, and 4 blushes. The majority of these shades were repeats from their original line. So if you are a collector, do keep that in mind. I really liked this palette. I thought it was fine. I did a whole little short where you can see me apply every shade. I think it's nice, but it wasn't a wow factor palette. But I have found myself reaching for it quite a lot utilizing these shades, so I have mixed feelings about it. My overall thoughts though were that I enjoyed the other one better. I thought it was a better value and you got more out of it. This one clearly is not going to work for a wide range of skin tones. It feels drier than the one that I like better, but it works just fine, and I do like the colors in here, so do with that what you will. It's a NARS blush palette, and I liked it, and I use it, but I like the other one better. Now, I did say in my initial review I regretted purchasing this. It was just way too much money for what it was. This is the Aura Illuminating Face and Body Powder. I spent an arm and a leg for this big old highlighter that was so unnecessary, but I've been using it a lot. I love the quality of this. I would not buy it again. I'm not going back and recommending this to you, seriously, because I think it's too expensive. However, I blindly bit the bullet on this, regretted it instantly, but while I have it, I like it. I wouldn't go out of my way to return it since I'd already accepted that money leaving my account. It has this opal pinky iridescence to it, which I didn't think would be as desirable as it ended up being. But yeah, it's more wearable than I thought. I've been asked what I'm wearing when I wear this. It meshes into a pink blush beautifully. And it meshes into the skin beautifully as well. You can't really tell where that glow starts and ends. I think it's a phenomenal highlighter if you don't like anything too glowy, but it still has that special angelic glow. But I'm not recommending it. I think it's too expensive for what it is. I really, really do. But since I have it, I've been loving it. I can't lie. I don't have anything bad to say about it other than the price, because this is a stunning, smooth highlighter. Take with that information what you will. Let's move on to the eyes. I only have 2 products related to the eyes. I don't put eyeshadows in these videos. Eyeshadows are always a whole separate video. But I've been testing the Moira Ultimate Styler Brow Gel. This is not a style of product that I normally enjoy because the tint is a mess, so this must be the first thing that you apply. But honestly, it gives my brows a really beautiful, fluffy, natural look. Just make sure you apply it first and then wipe around the edges. And I don't really need to fill in with a pencil when I use this. Now, it's for a more unruly, unkept kind of look intentionally, but the hold on this is fantastic. As somebody who does have quite unruly brows that like to fall, my brows don't fall with this. So I actually really, really like this for a certain look. I just don't tend to go for that look very often, but very, very nice. And it's not clumpy. It doesn't look chunky in the brows. It doesn't add too much color. It's really, really nice if you're into this style of product. As well as this mascara, I really love. This is from Wonder Skin. It is their Infinite Riz Mascara. It's one of those products where I had it, I randomly tried it one day, and I actually really love it. As somebody who's very picky with mascaras, it gives great length, it gives great volume, it gives great definition to the lashes, and it holds a curl. As somebody with straight Asian thin lashes, kind of short, very sparse, especially on the lower lashes, this is good for me. I really like this mascara, and it doesn't take too long to dry as well. It's extremely lightweight on the lashes, which helps the curl hold. So this is a really, really wonderful mascara. Moving on to our final category of lips. Just a few today. Today was a heavy complexion day, but I have fallen in love with the Wonder Skin contour lip liners. I've always loved their eyeliners. I think they have some of the best eyeliners on the market, and I now love their lip liners, which I had a lot more, but they're in my purses right now. That's how you know it's good. I love the colors that they have. The one that I'm currently wearing is Nutmeg, which is just a really beautiful, slightly warm kind of brownish shade. I think it's really gorgeous. These have a nice smooth application, but they're not too slippery, so they have enough grip to give you some control, and they have great wear time as well. So no complaints about this. This one is more hydrating than a lot of my favorite lip liners. It doesn't have the same longevity as my favorite lip liners, but it has just enough because of how comfortable it is. So really, really love these. I've been enjoying these lip glosses too, this collection in particular. These are going to be limited edition because they are limited edition fall flavors. So if you run into them and they sound good, get it in gear and get it if you want it. So these are the Fruit Fetish lip oil formula from Milani, which are really beautiful, hydrating, glossy, but I'm talking about the fall shades in particular. Pumpkin Spice, Candy Apple, Mulled Wine, and Hot Cocoa. These smell as they sound. I think they're delightful. They got me into the fall spirits, and I love the fall colors as well. So it's a formula I was already familiar with, but I wanted to emphasize that these are limited edition and they are lovely. So yeah, love, love, love these. They taste good too. Don't ask me how I know. Then I have these from Pixi, which I was really excited about, and didn't end up loving these. These are the lip blushes. So I liked the idea of like a marker lip liner. Happiness, love, beauty, youth, and purity. But these are not lip liner colors. These are kind of, they look like pH lip products to me. They're too bold and bright and like lip stainy. I don't like the colors of these, but these are basically lip stains for your lips. But I just hate the colors of them. I need more neutral shades of this. So that's my problem. I don't think the quality is bad. I just was expecting different colors. And even though it's not a lip liner, I want more neutral shades of this. I'm tired of the bold, bright pink lip stain colors, and that's what these gave me. So I didn't end up loving them, but they're not a bad product. I'm just wanting something different. A pH lip product though, I do actually have one from Jane Iredale. They're lip stains, but they give that similar effect, but I like these better. So these are the lip stains in Forever Pink and Forever Peach. I like these because it's that great hydrating Jane Iredale balmy formulation. So it feels light and comfortable, but they do add a little bit of brightness. I don't love the shades because they're lip stains, so they're a little bit more like popsicle-y than I want, but they're better than nothing when you just want some color. But I tend to prefer something leaning more neutral, and these don't. But I will throw these on. Today, I threw it on when I had nothing on and I went to the doctor's office, and it looked like makeup on me because it's a lip stain. And my husband was like, do you have makeup on? Because he saw like this stain on my lips, and but nothing else. And it's because it was this. And I like them, but I just don't love that lip stain look. I like that because it's hydrating and I like the base formula. But you know what I'm talking about, that lip stain color. I just don't love it. And then the last product that I have for today's speed reviews is from Guerlain. I just recently reviewed a lot of luxury holiday collections. This was in that video, but I had been testing this for weeks prior. So this, for some reason, like I grabbed for it and wanted it right away. That's their Kiss Kiss Bee Glow Oil in Sparkling Rosewood. This is a gorgeous lip oil. I'm not going to tell you to spend the money on a Guerlain lip oil, but it is thick and sticky, just like a honey lip oil you would expect, but not sticky in a way that things are gonna stick to it, just that it's gonna stick to your lips, and it just has some thickness to hydrate and add those good ingredients onto your skin. And it's really beautiful and glossy, and this to me is a great comfortable throw-on product that I will throw on without makeup because it just feels good on my face. So it's a treat yourself product. It's not like a you must run out and try this product out, you have to have it. No, but if you want to treat yourself to a nice little lip treatment from Guerlain, I really, really like this. And it's mostly clear though, so keep that in mind. But anyways, those were all 23 products that I was very, very happy to give you my final review on. So these are now going back into my general population now that I've fully tested them out. As always, I will have all of the products linked down below, as well as tagged in YouTube shopping if you wanted to check any of them out. If you've tried any of these products before, let me know your skin type preferences, etc., and how these worked or did not work out for you. Let's help each other out in the comments. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Make sure you stay subscribed for more as I continue to test out all of the new makeup and come back with my honest thoughts for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.